Chapter 1901, Formation Calm Sea Area. 1901 Formation Calm Sea Area. 5 lumps of white light, flashing abruptly in the sky, brought Fang Yuan, Miao Ming Shen and the others from the Merit Obelisk to here. All 5 of them were familiar with the mission and headed down to get a bird's-eye view, each of them activating their investigative killer moves. Fang Yuan was the first to observe the area and take a closer look. His investigative methods had always been his shortcoming, but that was only relative to his enemies. When compared to Miao Ming Shen and the others, even his weaker aspects were still far superior to them. This was a vast sea area. The sea was raging, creating thousands of fierce waves. They were so powerful that countless sea beasts could be seen within the reflections of these ripples. In this sea, there were 5 small islands. First was Jade Shaking Island with countless jade pillars, chiming and tinkling due to powerful winds. Second was White Bone Island. It was pale white and had the corpses of beasts scattered around. Third was Hidden Space Island. It seemed illusory as if it did not exist. Fourth was Sword Wind Island. There were 3 tornadoes on the island that would never stop moving. And fifth was Treasure Moon Island. It was crescent-shaped and was shrouded by the night sky at all times. Every inch of sand on this island shined with faint moonlight. 3 of these 5 islands had begun to drift slowly with the current. Among them, Sword Wind Island had the fastest flow and confusing direction of movement. For the remaining 2 islands, Jade Shaking Island was in danger. The pillars underneath the island were broken, and in a little while, just like the 3 islands, it would start to drift away on the sea surface. As for Hidden Space Island, however, it was very stable and remained firmly entrenched in the distance. This was because this island was filled with phantom path Dao marks. The main cause of the island's drifting was the impact currents that ran deep under the sea. These currents had become so large that they endangered the sea itself. Suppressing the currents, restructuring the ecology of the sea, and restoring the former 5 islands chain were the contents of this large-sized mission. Fang Yuan started to make calculations and deductions in his mind. There were indications that this sea area had originally formed an intrinsic ecology with the 5 islands chain as its core. Impact currents did not exist before, but now they were like a shark in a calm pond, causing severe destruction to the habitat and ecology of this sea area. While Fang Yuan made his deductions, Miao Ming Shen and the rest also explored this entire sea area with their investigative methods. They frowned and had serious expressions. This is a large-sized mission. The difficulty is several times higher than a mid-sized mission. Hua Dai's heart sank steeply. Feng Jiang had an ugly expression as he thought, I tried my best earlier to improve the ecology of Beehive Island but it was still imperfect. This large-sized mission is not about balancing the ecology, but restructuring it. Each island is in greater danger than Beehive Island itself. And the 5 islands are only part of the mission. There's still a large sea area and the underwater impact currents to resolve. This is very complex. To restructure the habitat of the sea area, we would need to change everything and meticulously alter the details. Without a wisdom path Gu immortal, we will need to make many experiments and attempt the restructuring step by step. During this process, we would make many mistakes. Gu He sighed in his heart. Miao Ming Shen was calculating the gains and losses. The mid-sized mission I just completed expended a large amount of my rank 7 immortal materials. To restructure the ecology of this place, the resources invested, the immortal essence consumed and the energy spent will be an extremely large sum. The more Miao Ming Shen and the rest observed, the faster their morale slipped away. The difficulty of the large-sized mission made them feel like giving up. The truth was, they started to regret it. Following Fang Yuan blindly to accept this mission was not a wise decision. Brother Chu, let's plan together. At this point, Miao Ming Shen could only smile bitterly and find Fang Yuan to discuss their actions. He was not going to give up on it. Just because they took the mission did not mean they could abandon it. In fact, in order to give up the mission, they needed to exchange for another title. Bright light flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes. With both Time Path Clone and Fang Yuan making deductions at the same time, he had already arrived at a perfect plan. He cupped his fists at Miao Ming Shen. Brother Miao, I have already planned something. Follow my instructions and we will definitely complete the mission. Miao Ming Shen was stunned. Although he did not believe it in his heart, he nodded without rebuking. Please give the instructions Brother Chu, we will do our best. Fang Yuan laughed heartily. Brother Miao is too polite, it will be good for both of us if we work together to complete this mission. The better we complete a large-sized mission, the greater the returns compared to a mid-sized mission. I'm only afraid we can't complete it well. Miao Ming sighed internally but did not say anything. He had already lost confidence in himself, he could only place his hopes on Fang Yuan now. But Fang Yuan's words were comfortable for him to hear. Fang Yuan was not high and mighty, but rather he had an attitude of equal cooperation. This was different from Shen Shang. Brother Miao, I want you to occupy Jade Shaking Island to guard against the impact currents. Please ask Gue Chi to station at Sword Wind Island and make sure that it doesn't wander off. Ask Feng Jiang and Fairy Hua Dai to guard Treasure Moon Island and White Bone Island respectively. I'm going to deal with Hidden Space Island first. Fang Yuan made the arrangements. Miao Mingshen's group was clueless to begin with, they followed Fang Yuan's instructions. With the four immortals in action, the islands were quickly suppressed, no longer drifting with the current, their speed of movement fell to a level that could be controlled. Watching Fang Yuan descend on Hidden Space Island, the four immortals had doubts in their hearts. Hidden Space Island is a phantom path island, it is the most stable place in the entire sea area, it is also the easiest part of the mission. Why is Chuing trying to deal with this island first? He should fix the other islands before trying to fix this Hidden Space Island. After all, this island is almost non-existent, by dealing with it first, he will cause some obstruction when handling the other islands later. In my opinion, he should deal with the impact currents first. It is the cause behind the collapse of the 5 islands chain. To restructure the ecology here, one has to deal with the root cause at the start. Fang Yuan landed on Hidden Space Island, quickly flying out afterwards, his speed was shocking to Miao Mingshen and the rest. Fang Yuan went to White Bone Island. Under Hua Dai's observation, Fang Yuan took out immortal materials from his immortal aperture and threw them around at will. He is setting up a formation. Hua Dai was seeing Fang Yuan create a formation for the first time. Fang Yuan was skillful and experienced, the process was very fluid, Hua Dai watched with a sense of appreciation and amazement. Soon, Fang Yuan finished setting up the formation. Hua Dai's mouth opened with deep shock, she could not close it. Chuing actually used immortal materials to set up a formation. Doesn't this mean he has Grandmaster attainment in formation path? So he is not a transformation path Gu immortal but a formation path Gu immortal. No, not true, when he defeated Gu Wan and saved us, he clearly used transformation path methods. Don't tell me, he cultivates 2 paths. It was not that rare for Gu immortals to cultivate 2 paths. But for Fang Yuan to be so proficient in both paths, with such high attainment, it was very rare. White Bone Island's arrangements were done, Fang Yuan activated this subformation and connected it to the main formation on Hidden Space Island. Due to the effect of the immortal formation, White Bone Island shook intensely, it anchored itself to the sea and showed no signs of movement anymore. Hua Dai finally understood Fang Yuan's intentions, so he was using Hidden Space Island as the base to stabilize the other islands around it. Amazing, Hidden Space Island is the best foundation for this chain, because the impact currents are useless against it. But Hua Dai soon realized a flaw, but the other islands are using Hidden Space Island as the anchor, this is the power of a formation, these impact currents will still hit these islands over time, as the formation continues to get damaged, it would break eventually, these islands will still float away in the end. Fang Yuan did not show any inclination to dispel her doubts, soon after, he landed on the 3 remaining islands and set up his formation, stabilizing them all. Miao Mingshen and the rest looked at Fang Yuan with complex gazes. Fang Yuan's formation path attainment was too shocking to them. Formation path grandmasters were very rare. And earlier, Fang Yuan's transformation path attainment was also exemplary. With such strength, the mysteriousness of Fang Yuan intensified in the immortals' hearts. However, stabilizing the 5 sea islands is just a good start. The real problem are the impact currents around the sea islands. Without water path methods, how can we deal with the sea currents? Miao Mingshen and the rest talked among themselves. They could not transmit their voices in Dragon Whale Paradise, but they could still use information path Mortal Gu like Letter Pigeon Gu. The impact currents that rampaged in this sea area were too huge, Miao Ming, Shen and the rest could only think of using immortal methods to attack the impact currents and destroy them bit by bit. This method was crude and wasted a lot of time and immortal essence. The biggest flaw was that attacking these currents would cause tremendous damage to the surrounding sea area. But other than that, Miao Ming, Shen and the rest did not have any good ideas. Boom! Right at this time, Fang Yuan rose to the sky and activated the entire Gu formation. Each of the 5 islands blossomed with rushing pillars of light of various colors. The power of the Gu formation soared upwards, breaking through its original limit. So this is the true power of the formation. Miao Ming, Shen and the rest had changes of expressions. They were dumbfounded. These 5 islands' Dao marks were so dense that they could also be seen as a single gigantic immortal material. The immortal formation that Fang Yuan had set up naturally included them within the range that could be utilized. I am going to draw in the impact currents now. Everyone, continue to defend your islands. If any beasts attack or if any waves approach that would endanger the islands, I need you to stop them. Fang Yuan called out as his voice resounded in the sea area. Miao Ming, Shen and the rest quickly responded, saying they would do their best. The formation buzzed and the 5 pillars of light gradually dissipated, turning into white light that scattered in the sky. The light went into the seawater, staining the water around the island with a beautiful illusion of white light. In this illusory white light, the impact currents were like a blue whale that had been stirred up by fish and shrimps, slowly moving its body, then swimming faster and crashing towards Jade Shaking Island, which was the closest. Miao Ming, Shen, who was on Jade Shaking Island, gritted his teeth. He felt tremendous pressure, tensing up and going on full alert. If the immortal formation's defense was not enough, such a sea current could completely crush Jade Shaking Island if it hit directly. Boom! The impact currents touched the formation and created a startling explosion. A huge wave, up to 10 feet high, pounded at Jade Shaking Island. Miao Ming, Shen immediately flew up with a cry, using his killer move to resist it. The impact currents were slowly turned around by this and moved to the left of Jade Shaking Island. But before they could move away, they were drawn back by White Bone Island's immortal formation. The one guarding White Bone Island was Hua Dai, and she almost groaned when she saw the sea current coming towards her. In the discussions of Miao Ming, Shen's group, the impact current was to be repelled and slowly weakened. The best outcome was to break it up and scatter it completely. But Fang Yuan was actually attracting the impact currents actively to hit the sea islands. This was something that Miao Ming, Shen and the rest wanted to avoid at all costs. Chewing is too crazy. Hua Dai soon had no time to think as the impact currents crashed into White Bone Island. The entire formation resounded with a scary creaking sound, before a huge wave was created. There were also many sea beasts caught in the waves. Hua Dai put up her best effort to resist them. Like this, the impact currents, under the constant manipulation of Fang Yuan, hit the 5 islands one after another. With each impact, the power of the currents was reduced by 1 level. They then circled around the island and became drawn to the next point. After the impact currents crashed into the last island, they had less than half the power and momentum as before. At this time, Fang Yuan activated the immortal formation once again, actually making the impact currents turn around and crash into the second last island. Thus, the Gu immortals defending the sea islands felt great fear again. After the impact current struck 5 times and returned to Jade Shaking Island, the power of the currents hitting the island was almost non-existent. They had almost turned to being ordinary currents. The 5 islands shook lightly as the immortal formation stabilized completely. The impact currents quickly calmed down and began to flow at an even rate consistently. In contrast, the hearts of the 4 Gu immortals stirred with huge waves of disbelief and shock. They did not expect that Fang Yuan would resolve the impact currents using such a method. The impact currents, while still present, had become a protective layer that surrounded the island. Around the 5 islands, the impact currents flowed rapidly, faster than ordinary seawater, protecting the 5 islands while at the same time, helping the immortal formation to stabilize the 5 islands' location. If they had followed the plan of Miao Ming, Shen and the others to destroy the impact currents, this sea area would surely be destroyed beyond recognition. Fang Yuan's move, however, cleverly avoided this drawback and instead made full use of the impact currents, turning the original calamity into a blessing and greatly enhancing the natural foundation of this sea area. This was truly an incredible achievement. Miao Ming, Shen and the others were all impressed. It was really difficult to do this. Not to mention the arrangement of the immortal formation, just the matter of manipulating impact currents alone, even water path Gu immortals were not even capable of doing that. To perfectly weaken the impact currents to a certain level, one needed to make precise calculations and deductions. When the impact currents returned to Jade Shaking Island, their power must be reduced to almost nothing. A bit more or a bit less would have greatly affected the overall situation and would not have gotten the incredible near-perfect balance it had now. The biggest problem has been resolved. The next step will be for you to repair the immortal formation, as well as restructuring the ecology of the island. As for the things beyond the impact currents, you can ignore them. Fang Yuan smiled. He was quite satisfied with this result. If new impact currents formed, these existing currents would engulf them and protect the islands under the effect of the immortal formation. Fang Yuan would leave his will and a large amount of immortal essence here. As long as they remained, the 5 islands chain would be very safe. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1902, Bullying Rank A. Chapter 1902, Bullying Rank A. The impact currents were like hungry tigers at first, but after Fang Yuan's arrangements, they became the pet cats that defended the 5 islands chain. After Fang Yuan completed this setup, the situation was already resolved. What followed were some finishing touches. These were not hard to do, but they were quite strenuous and required time and effort. Fang Yuan was not going to bother himself with them. Thus, Fang Yuan discussed with Miao Ming Shen. They left Feng Jiang and Fairy Hua Dai here while the rest returned with him. White light shined, Fang Yuan, Miao Ming Shen, and Gue Qi returned to the starting island. Ren Xiaoping was currently looking at the missions on this merit point. He was an enslavement path Gu immortal. He had many desolate beasts and a few ancient desolate beasts in his hands. These beasts all had various abilities. His methods were quite wide-ranging. However, even Ren Xiaoping still felt the difficulty of mid-sized missions. Fang Yuan and the others appeared beside him, causing his heart to jump as he secretly thought, how could these 3 suddenly appear at the same time? Is it a coincidence? Fang Yuan nodded at Ren Xiaoping and smiled slightly. Ren Xiaoping was stunned. This unexpected attitude of Fang Yuan made him not know how to respond for a moment. Fang Yuan walked towards him as the obelisk's words transformed, showing all of its large-sized missions. Fang Yuan swept his gaze around it and quickly received one of the missions. Next, he shared this with Miao Ming Shen and Gue Qi. With another flash of light, the 3 of them vanished on the spot. Ren Xiaoping watched the entire process. His expression turned grim. Chuing received a different level of mission from me. It is 1 tier higher. It seems that his merit points fell earlier because he was exchanging for another title to receive higher tier missions. This is very likely to be the title, Really Good Person. The title of Good Person could exchange for mid-sized missions, while Really Good Person could exchange for large-sized missions. This was a simple relationship. The Gu immortals could easily guess it just by seeing the names. But the problem was, so what if they realized it? Mid-sized missions are already so hard, large-sized missions must be even harder. Ren Xiaoping felt gloomy internally. And why were Miao Ming Shen and Gue Qi able to move together with Chuing? Did they receive the same mission? This discovery was quite alluring to Ren Xiaoping. Mid-sized missions were difficult, but if they had help, the difficulty would be shifted. Even though the merit points would be divided if many people receive the same missions, as long as we control it well, our efficiency at completing missions will increase, our overall gains will increase instead. Isn't Chuing doing the exact same thing now? Ren Xiaoping was a savvy person. After thinking about it, he understood Fang Yuan's intentions. Fang Yuan did not plan to hide it. In fact, he had purposely released the information. Miao Ming Shen's group could be roped in as allies. Why couldn't Ren Xiaoping? Their hatred earlier? Hee hee. How could hatred compare to the benefits in front of them? Ren Xiaoping was not crazy, he was astute, thus, there was a chance of cooperation. Ren Xiaoping definitely had an alliance agreement with Shen Clan. But it did not matter. The merit obelisk had such rewards that could eliminate the agreement restraints on a Gu immortal. Even without Fang Yuan's reminder, Ren Xiaoping must have seen that himself already. The second large-sized mission was naturally harder than mid-sized missions, but it was no problem for Fang Yuan. After spending some effort, Fang Yuan resolved the big issues and left Miao Ming Shen and Gu Qi to settle the minor problems. When he returned to the merit obelisk again, he waited a little while before Hua Dai and Feng Jiang returned. Their return meant that the first large-sized mission was completed. Fang Yuan gained 500 merit points, while Miao Ming Shen and the rest each gained around 80 points. Fang Yuan looked at the numbers on the merit board as he calculated, this large-sized mission gave a total of 973 points. Fang Yuan and Miao Ming Shen's group split up these points. Fang Yuan gained the bulk of them, getting 500 points was about the same as completing a large-sized mission alone. Except that he spent way less time and effort on it. Hua Dai and Feng Jiang looked at each other, seeing the joy in each other's eyes. In this mission, they helped Fang Yuan resist the waves and settle the minor problems at the end. They only spent some immortal essence, time, and effort, but they gained more than 80 merit points from it. Feng Jiang thought about the Beehive Island mission he completed alone. He spent a group of bees, including his desolate beast Yellow Yero Bee, but only got 80 points in the end. Comparing the two, helping Fang Yuan complete a large-sized mission was much easier and reaped greater rewards. Go and join with Miao Ming Shen to complete the second mission. I'd advise that we should all exchange for a group title. With a group title, we will be able to communicate with each other. Fang Yuan suggested. A group title was not cheap, it required 100 merit points. But Feng Jiang and Hua Dai did not hesitate, they listened to Fang Yuan and exchanged for this title. Fang Yuan shared the second mission with them as Feng Jiang and Hua Dai teleported to where Miao Ming Shen and Gu Qi were. Fang Yuan received the third large-sized mission and went ahead to deal with it. After Miao Ming Shen and the rest completed the second mission and returned to the starting island, the four immortals gained a sum of merit points listed on the merit board. Miao Ming Shen and Gu Qi also spent merit points to exchange for a group title. It allowed the four immortals to communicate with Fang Yuan constantly. At this point, Fang Yuan already completed his arrangements in the new mission. He shared it with Miao Ming Shen and group. Miao Ming Shen and the rest touched the obelisk and accepted the mission Fang Yuan shared with them. They were transported to Fang Yuan. He gave them some instructions before returning to look at the next mission on the merit obelisk. Fang Yuan had an advantage in cultivating every path, his value was fully displayed here. Even for Shen Shang, many of the missions here were impossible to complete, but Fang Yuan, from his perspective, had methods to solve most missions. What he had to do was to choose those that would give him the most benefits and complete them first. With the help of Miao Ming Shen and the others, Fang Yuan saved a lot of time and effort, while they were also gaining much more merit points now due to the help of Fang Yuan. The cooperation between them was of mutual benefit, but it was a problem for Ren Xiaoping and Shen Shang. These people watched as Miao Ming Shen's group rose in position on the merit board, surpassing them and becoming part of the top rankers. It was truly infuriating, but there was nothing they could do. Looking at Fang Yuan's merit points, he had reached several thousand. He was truly ahead, far surpassing any other immortal. Because of their huge difference, the immortals lost all desire to catch up to him. Immortal Gu need at least 10,000 merit points to exchange. Chewing is not far away already. Many people saw this and felt complex emotions. They were in admiration but also felt dejection. This is so strange, how can Chewing successfully complete so many different types of missions? He must know many secrets about this place. It is a pity that we cannot fight inside here. Miao Ming Shen and his group have truly dog shit luck. How could they gain the help of Chewing like this? The immortals were extremely jealous. Shen Shang sighed. The number of times he had sighed in the last 10 days was more than the sum of the previous few years. The ranking on the merit board was very glaring. Shen Shang's position was even lower than Hua Dai and Feng Jiang. He was a great rank 8 Gu immortal, he actually was losing to 2 rank 6 Gu immortals. How could he allow this? It was too embarrassing. If I can receive a large-sized mission, my rank 8 strength will be fully utilized, I will definitely gain a lot of merit points. But how can I let others receive the same mission as me? The really good person title was obvious, but what was the title to share missions? They needed to test this. And these experiments would test Shen Shang's luck, their merit points would also be wasted. This would aggravate their situation from the already terrible situation now. I can make my Shen Clan Gu immortals use their merit points, but what about Ren Xiaoping and Tong Hua? If I do that, will I just push them towards Chu Ying's side? Shen Shang had some reservations. He knew that his influence was continuously falling now. After learning that Gu immortal agreements could be removed using the rewards on the merit obelisk, Shen Shang became more cautious regarding his attitude towards Ren Xiaoping and others. Fang Yuan and Miao Ming could cooperate to do missions together, he had a good lead. Shen Shang wanted to copy him, he had to unite Ren Xiaoping and Tong Hua, these two people cultivated paths that Shen Clan lacked. Shen Shang was already regretting it, he should not have forced Miao Ming and the rest to spend their merit points to exchange for different rewards. This action made the immortals go against him mentally, it was a wise action back then, but now it was a terrible idea. This was not Shen Shang's fault, after all, he did not know anything about the merit obelisk earlier. The decisions he made back then was very appropriate due to the circumstances. There were many types of missions on the merit obelisk, mid-sized missions started to become difficult. Thus, the more paths one cultivated, the more advantage they would have in completing missions. Fang Yuan had already united Miao Ming and the rest, Shen Shang started to learn from his mistake, he became more gentle in his approach towards Ren Xiaoping and Tong Hua. His rank 8 reputation was still around, while Ren Xiaoping's alliance agreement was not removed yet, and most importantly, Ren Xiaoping had a grudge against Chu Ying and Miao Ming. All these reasons ensured that Ren Xiaoping and Tong Hua were still on Shen Clan's side. When Fang Yuan returned to the merit obelisk, a new large-sized mission appeared, the demonic immortal in regret crying C has lost his senses, please cooperate with the formation and kill him. Regret crying C appeared. Fang Yuan was slightly stunned before accepting this mission. At this point, formations regarding the Merman City had appeared, but the Merman Saintess selection competition had not started yet. The influence of Fang Yuan's rebirth had greatly altered the missions on the merit obelisk. With this mission, Fang Yuan would be able to retrieve Regret Gu earlier. This was a great thing. Once he gets Regret Gu, he would be able to advance his immortal Gu to a higher rank, his progress would be faster than in his previous life. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1903, Response Gu. Chapter 1903 Response Gu. The sky was cloudy, there were vicious winds and choppy waves, this was Regret Crying Sea area, Fang Yuan and Miao Mingshen's group had already been here for some time. I regret it. I should not have killed so many people. I painfully regret it. I should not have chased after power, it would have been much better if I had stayed behind to look after my parents as a filial son. I truly repent. I deceived everyone and concealed immortal Gu, I let a friend, who trusted me the most, carry the blame so I could get benefits. Waves of crying sounds resounded in the immortals' ears like immortal killer moves that messed with their emotions. This was the center of the Regret Crying Sea area. Miao Ming and the rest stayed in the sky while watching Fang Yuan who was in deep contemplation, they waited patiently. Even though they did not have much formation path foundation, they also found a grand formation at the bottom of the sea. This was clearly the work of Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, Miao Ming and the rest looked at it and felt how minuscule they were. Fang Yuan was like this in his previous life, he sighed that this formation was as vast as the sky, he would need at least dozens of years to comprehend all the profundities of this large formation. But now, this time needed decreased drastically. I need about 8 years to fully comprehend and gain complete understanding of this formation. Fang Yuan thought. The reason for such an improvement was none other than Fang Yuan's Earth Path attainment level. In the previous life, Fang Yuan did not have Grandmaster attainment level in Earth Path, but this formation was a super immortal formation that was primarily Earth Path. There are no actions from Regret Gu. Fang Yuan stared at a certain area at the bottom of the sea. Fang Yuan was not surprised by this situation. In order to stay in Dragon Whale Paradise, Fang Yuan destroyed the Stone Lotus Island in advance. Without the Stone Lotus Island, the venerable method used on Regret Gu could not find its location. How could it activate? According to the memories that Fang Yuan obtained on the Stone Lotus Island, Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable had entered the Stone Lotus Island and borrowed Regret Gu. Even though the Stone Lotus Island had Red Lotus Will and his lingering methods, how could it resist a living venerable? Red Lotus Will gave in, allowing Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable to borrow Regret Gu. He even wanted to snatch Red Lotus Inheritor. This inheritor was naturally Fang Yuan. In the previous life, Fang Yuan chose the Stone Lotus Island, but this time, he took everything from the Stone Lotus Island in advance. He came to the Dragon Whale Paradise because he wanted to inherit this Paradise Earth true inheritance. In the previous life, Regret Gu flew out and transported me away. Right now, it is showing no signs of movement. It seems that I need to take action myself. Fang Yuan gained some realization. Venerable methods were grand and powerful. Fang Yuan was teleported by Regret Gu to the Stone Lotus Island without putting up resistance. Seeing that Regret Gu did not activate, Fang Yuan was quite happy about it. After comprehending it for several hours, Fang Yuan recollected his scattered thoughts. He thought about it for a moment before saying to Miao Ming, Shen, we need to use the formation to get rid of this demonic immortal. However, when Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable set up this formation, even though it has unparalleled power, it can only suppress and seal, it has no offensive power. My idea is, we will set up a supplementary formation outside and activate it to kill the demonic immortal trapped within the formation. Miao Ming, Shen and the rest nodded upon hearing this idea. They agreed with it. If they tried to break the formation and release the demonic immortal, it would be extremely dangerous. It was obvious that this mysterious demonic immortal was someone of Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable's generation. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable had died already, but this demonic immortal was still alive. In terms of lifespan, he had already lived for more than 100,000 years. Who could live for so long? Even Primordial Origin Immortal Venerable, who had the longest lifespan among Venerables, only lived for 25,000 years. Having a longer lifespan than a Venerable, just this point alone made the demonic immortal extremely terrifying. Everyone, no need to overestimate the demonic immortal. Fang Yuan smiled. This formation has a lifespan extension method in addition to its sealing ability. This demonic immortal is in constant hibernation to extend his lifespan. This is the reason he is still alive. Miao Ming, Shen and the rest showed a more relaxed expression after he said that. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable is truly merciful. Not only did he not kill the person, after suppressing this demonic immortal, he even extended his lifespan. Does Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable have Heavenly Court's lifespan extension method? According to Heavenly Court's method, not only 100,000 years, they can hibernate for millions of years. Sigh, how can we possibly try to understand the method of a venerable? Fang Yuan turned his gaze to Miao Ming, Shen and said, but for me to set up the supplementary formation, I need a Gu immortal to suppress each formation core. When the supplementary formation is activated, the more Gu immortals there are and the more formation cores there are, the greater the power of the supplementary formation will be. And in my plan, I need at least 8 Gu immortals to suppress the formation cores. The good feelings of Miao Ming, Shen and the rest faded away. Including Fang Yuan, there were only 5 Gu immortals here. Fang Yuan's words meant that they had to invite at least 3 more people. That was an interesting situation. Because with the addition of Zheng Luo Zi and Tu Tu Tua, they still needed 1 person. And other than Shen Clan's Gu immortals, there were only Ren Xiaoping and Tong Hua left. This was not acceptable to Miao Ming, Shen's group. Shen Clan had suppressed them, while Ren Xiaoping was their enemy and Tong Hua was a traitor. Who do they invite? Gu Qi, Hua Dai, and Feng Jiang showed difficult expressions. However, Miao Ming smiled and responded sincerely, Brother Chu, the most important thing right now is the Paradise Earth true inheritance. It is a rare opportunity, so we should seize it. This is such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What hatred do we have that we can't put aside for a while? If we want to settle the score, we can do it after we leave. In my opinion, Zheng Luozi and Tu Tu Tua can be invited, Ren Xiaoping and Tong Hua can also be invited, and it will be even better if Shen Clan's Gu immortals can also come. After saying that, Miao Ming added an additional sentence, of course, everything is up to you, Brother Chu. Gu Qi and the other immortals' expressions changed, they wanted to say something but after Miao Ming's statement, they could not say anything. Fang Yuan laughed loudly, Miao Ming was truly Miao Ming after all. Fang Yuan said warmly, Brother Miao is truly magnanimous, I am in deep admiration. Let's do that. I will set up a few supplementary formations first, the four of you will guard a formation core each and activate the formations to infiltrate the underwater formation. After that, I will invite the other Gu immortals in. Miao Ming said again, I am friends with Tu Tu Tua and Zheng Luozi, I can write them a letter to make sure they know what decision to make. Fang Yuan nodded, that would be good. Eventually, Fang Yuan obtained a few information path mortal Gu from Miao Ming Miao Ming not only wrote letters to Zheng Luozi and Tu Tu Tua, he even wrote to Ren Xiaoping, Tong Hua, and Shen Clan, inviting them on behalf of Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan took a few glances at the content, there were no issues. Miao Ming expressed his intention to work together in the letter, he said that their grudges could be put aside for a while, he also praised Fang Yuan's methods and urged them to cooperate with him. Fang Yuan could not help but reassess Miao Ming. The truth was, Miao Ming's letter was only the icing on the cake, this letter was not going to change anything. Fang Yuan had a lot of confidence in successfully recruiting these people to begin with. Even if Miao Ming objected, Fang Yuan would still invite the other Gu immortals. Miao Ming knew that he was not someone crucial to Fang Yuan, he could be replaced, in order to gain more benefits in the future, he relented. If this is not a talented person, who is? The process of recruiting Tu Tu Tua and Zheng Luozi went very smoothly. Fang Yuan only said a sentence and they quickly joined him, they even showed deep excitement. After all, Fang Yuan was bringing Miao Ming's group to rise in ranking on the merit board, everyone could see how they suppressed Shen Shang. Fang Yuan invited Tong Hua next, she hesitated and said she needed to think about it. After that, Fang Yuan invited Ren Xiaoping, he agreed to it without even thinking, he was even faster than Tu Tu Tua and Zheng Luozi. Ren Xiaoping also brought slightly surprising news to Fang Yuan, Shen Clan's Gu immortals wanted to join as well. Shen Shang was the leader of the Shen Clan Gu immortals, without his consent, none of them would dare to defect over to Fang Yuan. Thus Fang Yuan met with Shen Shang soon after. Chuing. This time, Shen Shang had a warm attitude, he also treated the rank 7 Chuing as a rank 8 equal. The reason why I came here is because of Heavenly Court's information. Not long ago, Duke Long and Qi Si ancestor had a battle, I'm sure you have heard of it. In this battle, I captured Guyu Fangzheng, in order to get him back, Heavenly Court gave me some important information. It turns out that this Dragon Whale Paradise has a rank 8 response immortal Gu, this Gu is extremely important to me and my Shen Clan, I have been looking for it for many years. Shen Clan is willing to cooperate with you, Chuing. If you see this Gu on the Merit Obelisk's reward list, I hope you can pass it. If you encounter this Gu in a mission, my Shen Clan would like you to capture it for us. We will offer you a huge reward. Fang Yuan's expression changed, response Gu. This Gu worm is among the top 10 of the list of mystical Gu, it can emit a voice and anyone who hears this voice and responds to it will become enslaved. A rank 8 response Gu can enslave rank 8 Gu immortals, this is such a precious Gu that your clan is unable to obtain, if you want to work with me, what rewards are you offering me? After all, within this Dragon Whale Paradise, we cannot set an agreement. Shen Shang laughed loudly, I have already prepared it. This cooperation will use the reputation of my Shen Clan, you can record the entire process. Furthermore, I have something for you, this is a portion of our sincerity, please do accept it. Saying so, Shen Shang took out a set of immortal materials and handed them to Fang Yuan. The immortal materials had a lot of value, even Fang Yuan felt a little excited upon receiving them. Regret Gu was right in front of him, he needed quite a bit of resources to advance all of his immortal Gu. This set of immortal materials from Shen Shang had fixed this problem, it was something Fang Yuan really needed. Fang Yuan nodded as he accepted the immortal materials. Shen Shang added, I hear that your current mission has a super immortal formation set by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable himself. I would like to go there, response Gu might be in it, even if it is not there, my Shen Clan Gu immortals can lend a hand to help you with this mission. Fang Yuan pondered for a while before nodding, it is my honor to receive the help of Lord Shen Shang. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1904, Territory Gu. Chapter 1904 Territory Gu. Within the regret-crying sea area, immortals were present, Miao Ming, Shen and the other three each stayed in a supplementary formation, they activated their formations as the power continued to seep into the underwater formation. Fang Yuan was setting up his immortal formation now. His aura was radiating at rank 7 level, his body was covered in a light green halo, his eyes were filled with blue light, resembling lightning in the sea. Waving his hand, a large number of mortal Gu flew into the sky like a swarm of bees, circling around and forming the shape of a supplementary formation. Next, Fang Yuan took out immortal materials and used his killer moves to fill up this supplementary formation. The newly arrived Ren Xiaoping and others looked at Fang Yuan with gleaming eyes, they were silent upon seeing his formation arrangement. The Gu immortals all had complex expressions, even Shen Shang was the same. Being able to use immortal materials to set up formations, he is a formation path grandmaster. Chu Ying cultivates transformation path, to think that he has such attainment in formation path, this is very rare. How does he dual cultivate? Perhaps he found a way to cultivate both transformation path and formation path without conflict, like how Heavenly Court's Thunder Ghost True Monarch cultivated lightning path and soul path, or how Nine Spiritual Fairy cultivates transformation path and enslavement path. It is not as simple as just a formation path grandmaster, Chu Ying's proficiency in creating formations is very high, and most impressively, he does not lack formation path immortal killer moves, his efficiency at creating formations is truly amazing. The immortals watched with increasing shock as Fang Yuan displayed his incredible formation path attainment. With such methods, he can handle a lot of missions on the Merit Obelisk. Most of the Merit Obelisk missions involve channeling of rivers and managing the ecology, this is very advantageous for Chu Ying. No wonder he could complete so many formations. Ordinary formation path Gu immortals need immortal Gu to create immortal formations. But Chu Ying is a formation path grandmaster, he only needs to use immortal materials. This is too terrifying. The Gu immortals could not help but feel envy and jealousy, especially towards Miao Ming, Shen and group who had joined Chu Ying much earlier and had a head start. Ren Xiaoping was already starting to consider if he should abandon Shen Clan after this mission and defect to Fang Yuan instead. Looking at the current situation, Fang Yuan was very magnanimous. Earlier, even though Ren Xiaoping was enemies with him, he had completely ignored it at the moment. Ren Xiaoping's worry was that Fang Yuan already had Miao Mingshen's group, even Tu Tu Tua and Xing Luozi had a closer relationship to Fang Yuan than him. In Chu Ying's perspective, he could simply cooperate with the people he liked. Why would he seek the cooperation of an enemy like me? Ren Xiaoping had a thought, even though he had formation path grandmaster attainment level, being able to use immortal materials to set up formations, his greatest limitation is also immortal materials. If he lacks immortal materials, I can contribute them to him and deepen our cooperation and relationship. Ren Xiaoping decided to give up some of his personal benefits, that was the only way he could entice Fang Yuan into cooperating with him. This formation has been created, Ren Xiaoping, please go and defend it. Fang Yuan spoke at this time. He had already set up several formations, this was like the previous few ones, even though they were made in the sky, once they were completed, they would sink into the sea. Sure, sure. Ren Xiaoping smiled as he flew down. He entered the formation without checking it closely. Ren Xiaoping did not have formation path attainment. Even if Fang Yuan created the formation before his very eyes, he could not understanding the profundity of this supplementary formation, but he believed that with Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable's arrangements, Fang Yuan could not harm him. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable restricted Gu immortals from fighting each other. It allowed them to trust each other to a large extent. Fang Yuan continued to set up formations. 1, 2, 3. One by one, Gu immortals entered their formations. The supplementary formations were getting stronger. Ren Xiaoping's expression was not good now. Fang Yuan seemed to have an endless supply of immortal materials. During this period of time, he saw Domination Copper, Earthly Limit Astral Chi, Green Jade Wind, Dark Ink Stone, Heaven Flying Jade. Fang Yuan's deep wealth silenced all of the immortals. Ren Xiaoping even gasped in shock several times. With such wealth, how could he possibly compare? And the thing that made Ren Xiaoping the most dejected was Fang Yuan's attitude. He spent all of these immortal materials to create formations. He did not even blink or hesitate. He was completely indifferent about the cost. Even though Fang Yuan lacked immortal materials, that was for the sake of advancing his immortal Gu. The immortal materials used to create these formations were merely just a tiny portion of Fang Yuan's treasury. Even if he had to create another 100 supplementary formations, he could easily afford it. Thus, Fang Yuan's actions were simply showing that he was incredibly affluent in the eyes of Ren Xiaoping and the other Gu immortals. After expending some time and effort, all the supplementary formations were finally created. Shen Shang and the rest went into their own formations that were scattered all around the underwater formation. If one watched from above, it would resemble the tail of a peacock. Every single supplementary formation resembled the feathers that formed the eye of a peacock tail. They gathered strength that flowed all the way into the underwater formation. The supplementary formations looked similar, but they all had different effects. This was because Fang Yuan modified every supplementary formation according to the respective Gu immortal using it. For example, Miao Ming Shen's supplementary formation had space path immortal materials. It could raise his efficiency. Ren Xiaoping's supplementary formation had several spaces in it that could accommodate desolate beasts. It would allow him to use his enslavement path expertise. Other than that, the supplementary formations also had specific locations. Fang Yuan placed the weaker immortals like Hua Dai and Feng Jiang at the periphery. Shen Shang, who was the strongest, was closest to the underwater formation. Fang Yuan also created a supplementary formation for himself. He entered it. This supplementary formation was a refinement path Gu formation. Its only use was to amplify the power of Fang Yuan's refinement path killer moves. Within the supplementary formation, Fang Yuan activated his killer move, Refinement Formation Rain. At once, rain started to drizzle above the sea. Countless raindrops entered the underwater formation. The might of Refinement Path was displayed as Gu worms were refined by Fang Yuan one by one. Shen Shang and the others did not find this rain powerful initially, but after a while, their eyes were opened wide. Because during this short period of time, Fang Yuan had already refined the outer layer of the underwater formation. What killer move is this? It worked against this underwater formation. It looks like a refinement path killer move. Some were uncertain. Such a powerful refinement path killer move, does chewing cultivate refinement path too? Some found it unbelievable. This should be the effect of that supplementary formation. The Gu immortals thought about it for a long time. They subconsciously decided to attribute it to the power of Fang Yuan's supplementary formation. If Chewing also had such terrifying attainment in refinement path, able to refine the formation of Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, wouldn't he be a triple cultivator? How would Ren Xiaoping, Miao Ming Shen, and all these other elites who cultivated one path feel? Even if it was the power of the supplementary formation, these Gu immortals were still immensely shocked. Shen Shang's pupils shrunk slightly. Compared to the supplementary formation's power, he was more shocked at Fang Yuan's ambition. He already understood it. All of them controlling the supplementary formations were like crowbars, while the underwater formation was like a tightly sealed wooden box. The power of the supplementary formation invaded the underwater formation. It was like the crowbars trying to pry open the box. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan controlled the supplementary formation that was the core of this entire formation. It could flow in using the crack opened by the crowbars, to invade and turn these wooden boards into his own possession. Such formation path attainment, such ambition, he wants to take the entire formation for himself. Chu-ing. Shen Shang had a solemn expression. He secretly engraved this name into his heart. This was not the first time Fang Yuan was using this refinement formation rain killer move. This move used rank 8 water refinement immortal Gu as the core. Fang Yuan used this move used rank 8 water refinement immortal Gu as the core. Fang Yuan used many Gu worms to suppress the rank 8 aura, disguising it as rank 7. After rebirth, he annexed Xianxia sect and gained rank 8 immortal Gu water refinement. He created this move. After returning to southern border, he used this killer move to refine Chi Chu Yu's formation and captured many Gu immortals inside the formation. This time, Fang Yuan used it with rank 7 aura again. With the concealment of the supplementary formation, Shen Shang could not tell that it was truly rank 8. The power of a rank 8 killer move was truly extraordinary. The underwater formation was slowly refined by Fang Yuan bit by bit. The more he refined it, the greater his control over the formation. With the help of his supplementary formations, he progressed with great speed without much problem. However, after he refined 30% of the formation, refinement formation rain's effect fell drastically. His progress slowed down. Refinement formation rain is just a killer move. The actual effect depends on my understanding of this underwater formation. Fang Yuan expected this. He was not surprised. He was sufficiently patient. He decided to spend some time here, to get Regret Gu and the other immortal Gu in the formation. His investments were worth it. Originally, he was worried about the other Gu immortals. But now that Shen Shang had been invited here, Fang Yuan was not afraid that other Gu immortals would use this time to surpass his contribution ranking. The rate of formation refinement got slower and slower. Eventually, Fang Yuan hit a brick. This was an Earth Path rank 7 immortal Gu. Its body was flat like a disc, yellowish-brown, with a head and a tail, and 4 tentacles that look like hooks, growing evenly around the disc. This is Territory Gu. Once a Gu immortal plants it deep into the soil, it will emit a profound power that affects the surrounding soil and spreads out until it reaches its limit. Everything that is within 1,000 li of that territory will be controlled by the Gu immortal. Fang Yuan recognized this Gu. Territory Gu was very commonly seen, especially in southern border. Many villages, even if they were not proficient in Earth Path, would try to get a rank 3 or 4 Territory Gu. The village would plant this Gu in the soil and let a Gu master in a position of authority use it, to raise and maintain their control over this territory. Territory Gu was a very useful Gu worm, but it was very expensive. It was often used by forces. Individual Gu masters did not need it. Territory Immortal Gu was actually kept within Dragon Whale Paradise. This Gu was quite useful to Fang Yuan as well. Fang Yuan could conveniently use this Gu worm to manage his immortal aperture. He could alter the landscape of the territory that he creates using Territory Gu. Even if it was not useful, Fang Yuan still had to refine this Earth Path Immortal Gu. It was the key obstacle now. It stopped Fang Yuan from progressing further. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1905, Demonic Immortal Breaks Free. Chapter 1905, Demonic Immortal Breaks Free. It is a little troublesome. I need to make deductions. Everyone, take a rest for now. Fang Yuan spoke. The obstacle of Territory Gu not only blocked Fang Yuan but also the other Gu immortals. No matter how they activated the supplementary formation, they could not penetrate the formation anymore. The Gu immortals started to rest, but not without talking among themselves. We finally met with an obstacle. I thought that Chu-ing would be able to continue refining it endlessly. Don't joke, this is a formation that Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable created personally. How in the world can this Chu-ing possibly refine such a formation? But if he cannot refine it, what will happen to our mission? Indeed, even though Chuang is a formation path grandmaster, deduction is the expertise of wisdom path. What can he deduce? The Gu immortals had complex emotions. On one hand, they could finally let out a sigh of relief after seeing Fang Yuan face an obstacle. On the other hand, the fact that Fang Yuan was stuck meant that they were also not able to progress and gain more benefits. The Gu immortals wanted Fang Yuan to break through this obstacle, but they were also inherently unwilling to see him succeed. "Alright, I deduced it, let's continue," Fang Yuan said. "What?" The immortals were stumped, his speed was too terrifying. Fang Yuan flew out of the supplementary formation and floated in the air. "To get through this obstacle, we need to modify the supplementary formations a little. Everyone, don't be anxious to take action." Next, he willed as immortal essence got rapidly expended. Supplementary formations followed his will and thought, changing locations. Some supplementary formations moved back while others moved in front, getting closer to the underwater formation. Eventually, Miao Ming's supplementary formation was closely placed beside Ren Xiaoping's formation. They were tightly connected together. Fang Yuan said to them, "Next, the two of you will lead the supplementary formations while the others help out." Ren Xiaoping and Miao Ming nodded. They had complex expressions, not expecting that they of all people would actually cooperate. After modifying the supplementary formations, Fang Yuan entered his supplementary formation again. He did not rush to activate refinement formation rain, instead he gave specific instructions to the immortals within these formations, using his own steps and methods to activate these supplementary formations in a particular manner. The power of the supplementary formation changed. It was like a thin cluster of sand, falling through the cracks of the underwater formation and slowing down its operations bit by bit. And this change was what Fang Yuan needed to make use of. He quickly activated refinement formation rain and successfully refined territory Gu after a while. After passing this obstacle, a new sense of ease was felt by the immortals as the supplementary formation's power surged like a wave and rampaged in the underwater formation. Only after it took over 60% of the formation did it stop at a new obstacle. A huge wave of shock emerged in the hearts of Shen Shang and the rest. So powerful. To think that this Chuang is so impressive. More than half of this underwater formation belongs to him now. The supplementary formations he designed are very profound, they can be adjusted according to situations. This is not a fixed formation, it is a transformative formation. Fang Yuan's performance surpassed their highest expectations. They could not help but feel deeply astonished. 3 days and 2 nights later, Fang Yuan refined a few more Earth Path Immortal Gu and a vast number of Mortal Gu. At this point, the 60% of the formation was finally under Fang Yuan's control. But the remaining 40% is the core of this underwater formation. With just the supplementary formations and myself, we cannot break through it in the short term. Fang Yuan knew his own limits. He had already reached the current limit of his abilities after reaching this point. After all, this Earth Path formation was created by Paradise Earth, his Earth Path attainment level was Supreme Grandmaster. Fang Yuan tried to use the 60% that he refined to interfere with the remaining 40%. Fang Yuan tried to use the underwater formation against itself. Guh. A moment later, Fang Yuan suddenly coughed out blood as his soul shook, his face turned pale. Many supplementary formations including the one he was in broke apart, the Gu immortals within fell into the water as they shouted in shock, each of them faced varying levels of backlash. Fang Yuan's plan failed, even though he controlled 60% of the formation, he could not do anything to the remaining core 40%. As expected of Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, even after over half of it was refined, it still remained unmoved. Fang Yuan's heart shook. He sighed to himself as he called out, "Everyone, I am sorry, I did not see the profundity of the formation and caused you to get injured." The injured Gu immortals shook their head, they quickly replied that they were fine. In their opinion, it was outstanding that Chuang could reach this stage, he far exceeded their expectations. Fang Yuan squinted his eyes as he thought, it seems that we can only dismantle the formation now. After resting for a while, he started to dismantle the formation. Because the external 60% was already refined by him, the dismantling was very successful. But this was not a normal dismantling process. Fang Yuan only took apart 60% of the formation, thus during this process, Gu worms were destroyed when the formation was taken apart. But Fang Yuan paid attention to the immortal Gu and protected them, he successfully obtained them. As for the mortal Gu, even if some of them were destroyed, it was not a big deal. Miao Ming, Shen, Ren Xiuping, and the rest watched with wide-opened eyes. When they controlled the supplementary formation earlier, they could not sense the exact situation within the formation, there was only a faint connection. Now that Fang Yuan dismantled the formation, they could see all of the Gu worms that he was getting. So many Gu worms. I see so many long-lost Earth Path mortal Gu, they were all created when Paradise Earth was still a Gu master. There are also immortal Gu, oh heavens, there are 8 immortal Gu. Most of these immortal Gu are rank 7, there are few rank 6 immortal Gu. Chu Ying took them all. Indeed, he did not even give us a single one. The Gu immortals watched as Fang Yuan took his immortal Gu, they were staring in a daze, some of them were even salivating intensely. Most of these were Earth Path immortal Gu, they were not suitable for use but immortal Gu were unique, they could be traded for other immortal Gu. 222's eyes were bloodshot, he was almost spewing fire from them. He was an Earth Path Gu immortal, watching as Fang Yuan kept the Earth Path immortal Gu in his immortal aperture, he felt his mouth turning dry and his heart palpitating intensely. While dismantling the formation, he gulped several times, he wanted to speak but could only swallow his saliva in the end. He really wanted to snatch these immortal Gu. But his logic told him that it would be the most stupid move to do so. Even a rank 8 like Shen Shang could not do anything, how could he? In the end, 222 heaved a deep sigh, he swallowed all of his envy and jealousy into his stomach along with his saliva. His mind moved quickly, thinking of how to get these immortal Gu. He knew that he was not crucial to this plan, so the only way was to deepen his cooperation and relationship with Chu Ying by displaying his value, it would help in the future when he asks Chu Ying to exchange Gu. The only good thing was that Chu Ying cultivated transformation path and formation path, he did not cultivate earth path. Thus, there was a high possibility that Chu Ying would sell these immortal Gu in the future. The pitiful 222 did not know that Fang Yuan's earth path attainment level was at Grandmaster, it was even higher than his. After Fang Yuan dismantled the outer part of the formation, the immortals came to congratulate him. Congratulations, congratulations. Chu Ying, you've earned a fortune this time. Even though you used so many immortal materials, you gained a large number of immortal Gu. It is truly a huge profit. To speak the truth, my saliva is about to drip to the ground. Outstanding methods, all I feel is admiration towards you. Chu Ying, I am 222, I am quite interested in these Earth Path immortal Gu that you obtained. If you wish to sell or exchange them, please inform me, I am sure that you will be satisfied with my offer. Fang Yuan thanked them one by one with calm emotions. He simply had too many immortal Gu already. It could scare them all to death if he said the exact number. And this batch of immortal Gu that he just obtained was not his biggest gain recently. Earlier in the River of Time, Fang Yuan defeated Heavenly Court, even though he lost the Stone Lotus Island, his gains were huge. He dismantled 6 immortal Gu house from Heavenly Court, even though many immortal Gu died in the battle, there were many immortal Gu left. For example, the core immortal Gu of the River Suppression Lotus Sealing Formation, Suppression and Bone Seal, the 2-time path core of Moment Stage, Instant and That Time, immortal Gu permanence in Eternal Yacht, the early autumn, mid-autumn, and late autumn of 3 autumn Yellow Crane Platform, and the immortal Gu in Sun and Moon Temple, Sun Day and Moon Month. These immortal Gu were mostly rank 7, some were rank 8. As for Shark Flow Lever, even though it was completely destroyed without a single one left, it had a special construction style, it used a combination of desolate beasts and immortal Gu. While Fang Yuan took his loot and gains from the battlefield, he reverse deduced most of the contents of Shark Flow Lever using the clues he found. This gave him a huge inspiration. Currently, Fang Yuan's clone was already making deductions to try to incorporate 12 Zodiac battle formation into his myriad-year flying warship. Right now, there was only 40% of the underwater formation left in front of Fang Yuan and the others. Using refinement formation rain would have little to no effect already. The power of the supplementary formation could no longer do anything. Even though Fang Yuan tried very hard, there was no progress. He understood that this underwater formation was like a hard tortoise shell, its defense was very tight. Should I wait for my clone Wu Shui to raise my Earth Path attainment level or should I attack directly? Fang Yuan thought about it, he decided to save time and attack now. After all, he had so many people with him now, he had to make good use of them. Immediately, he asked these Gu immortals to attack while he and a few other Gu immortals stayed to manipulate the supplementary formation. Boom boom boom. All sorts of killer moves were unleashed upon the underwater formation, causing huge ripples and waves. The formation only had 40% left, after being attacked by so many strong immortals, including a rank 8 Gu immortal like Shen Shang, its operations were hindered as all sorts of flaws appeared. Fang Yuan was overjoyed, he quickly used the supplementary formation to invade the formation using these loopholes. I regret it. Suddenly, from within, a loud crying voice resounded in the area. What was I doing? I should not have attacked the formation. I regret it. Why did I listen to Chu Ying? I should not have come to Dragon Whale Paradise, now I am completely trapped, I truly regret everything. Only Fang Yuan stopped their actions, their morale fell to rock bottom as Regret Gu exerted its influence on them. The power of Regret Gu to weaken its influence on him. He wants to Only Fang Yuan remained unmoved, bright light shined in his eyes as he thought, the demonic immortal within the formation is spreading the power of Regret Gu to weaken its influence on him. He wants to escape. Bam bam bam. Loud sounds were emitted from within the underwater formation. The formation had flaws to begin with, right now, these gaps spread as they formed into a huge crack. Shen Shang shouted loudly as he temporarily suppressed the effect of Regret Gu, his eyes were bloodshot as he attacked the formation's crack fiercely. Immortal killer move, Grand Collision. Boom! The power of this move cooperated with the demon within, the formation broke apart as the sealed demonic immortal flew out like a black arrow. Shen Shang was overjoyed, he flew closer, Ancestor Shen Shang, I am a descendant of Shen Clan, I am your junior. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1906, He is actually Fang Yuan. 1906 He is actually Fang Yuan. The sudden change occurred in front of all the immortals. Shen Shang got close to the mysterious demonic immortal, he showed an agitated expression. Finally, I've finally found you, Ancestor Shen Shang. Shen Shang shouted in a slightly trembling voice. His true motive in coming here was to save his ancestor, Shen Shang. Shen Shang was the most outstanding Gu immortal in Shen Clan, he had outstanding talent that was publicly recognized. In fact, when he was still a rank 6 Gu immortal, a Wisdom Path rank 8 great expert had said that he was the hundreds of years Eastern immortal leader, with half of a venerable's talent, it meant that he would become the leader of Eastern Seas immortals in hundreds of years when he reaches rank 8, his talent was so high it could compare to half a venerable. However, Shen Shang pursued strength and gradually fell into the demonic path, he started to commit heinous deeds. His clan treasured his talent and even though they punished him, it was not a severe punishment, they protected him continuously. Shen Shang did not change his ways, he became more daring and as a righteous path Gu immortal on the surface, he acted like a demon. Eastern Sea's Gu immortal world was kept in the dark, Shen Clan managed to conceal the fact but they could not hide it from Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable took action, suppressing him, but did not expose his identity publicly. Shen Clan did not dare to publicize it, they only announced that Shen Shang had died from his tribulation. After Shen Shang captured Gu Fangzheng, Heavenly Court contacted him and told him about Shen Shang's information, in exchange for Fangzheng. Therefore, Shen Shang learned that Shen Shang was still alive, and that he was imprisoned within Dragon Whale Paradise. In order to enter Dragon Whale Paradise, Shen Shang mobilized the whole of Shen Clan to investigate and search in secret. Right at this time, Ren Xiaoping targeted Miao Ming Shen and attacked them, exposing clues leading to the Blue Dragon Whale. After Shen Clan learned of this, Shen Shang led them to force Ren Xiaoping to submit. They learned that Miao Ming Shen had a way to find the exact location of the Blue Dragon Whale. Miao Ming Shen gathered 8 immortals to search for the Paradise Earth true inheritance in the Blue Dragon Whale. Ren Xiaoping and Shen Shang learned about it and followed them. After that, it led to a series of events. After Shen Shang came to Dragon Whale Paradise, he tried all the ways possible to find Shen Shang's location. After a few missions, Shen Clan Gu immortal Xianxia got the information of Regret Crying Sea. Shen Shang guessed that the demonic immortal in Regret Crying Sea was likely Shen Shang. However, he could not be happy for long because he heard of terrifying news. Chu actually accepted the mission to kill Shen Shang. This shocked Shen Shang. He quickly contacted Fang Yuan, lying that he was looking for Response Gu and offering a large amount of immortal materials to express his goodwill. Thus, Fang Yuan brought Shen Shang into Regret Crying Sea. Shen Shang waited secretly and did not make a move. Only at the last moment, he acted and saved Shen Shang with one attack. This change made everyone dumbfounded other than the Shen Clan Gu immortals. Immediately, Miao Ming Shen and the rest had dark expressions, their hearts sank to rock bottom. Shen Shang was a rank 8 Gu immortal to begin with. They had another Shen Shang who was a rank 8 Gu immortal now as well. Back then, Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable had to suppress him personally. He definitely had outstanding battle strength that was not to be underestimated. With Shen Shang, Shen Clan's strength rose greatly. Not only in Dragon Whale Paradise, but even in Eastern Sea, there would be a shocking change. Currently, in Eastern Sea's righteous path, Shen Clan would be the only superforce with 2 rank 8 Gu immortals. Shen Clan would become the strongest force in Eastern Sea. This would have huge impact and bring immense benefits to Shen Clan. Back then, Heavenly Court exposed this secret to them. It was no wonder that Shen Shang immediately released Fang Zheng without caring about Qi Si ancestor, who was hinting that he wanted to get Fang Zheng. You are a descendant of my Shen Clan. Shen Shang floated in the air, looking at Shen Shang. His eyes shined with brilliance as he nodded. Indeed, you are a member of Shen Clan. What year is it now? Shen Shang had a hoarse voice. It was even more coarse than crow's. He wore a gray robe that was tattered, his face was pale and his hair was messy, his eyes were bloodshot and red. His peak rank 8 aura radiated from his body with an intense force. Shen Shang answered his question and told him that Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable had died long ago. So long has passed. Shen Shang sighed deeply. Lord Paradise Earth died after all. Sigh. His attitude towards Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable was a bit strange. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable suppressed him, but he actually called Paradise Earth Lord. After sighing, Shen Shang looked towards Fang Yuan and the other immortals. He gazed around and understood the situation. He cupped his fists and smiled. Good, it seems that my Shen Clan has many talented people. Afterwards, he focused his gaze on Fang Yuan as he spoke in a gentle tone. Friend, I was able to escape thanks to you. It was mostly due to your effort. Do you wish to join Shen Clan and become our external Supreme Elder? He actually wanted to recruit Fang Yuan. Indeed, Fang Yuan had displayed sufficient value already. Just his formation path Grandmaster status was something Shen Clan wanted. And looking at his attainment and age, it was possible that he could break through to formation path Great Grandmaster in his lifetime. Shen Shang cupped his fists towards Fang Yuan, adding, Chu, I lied earlier but I did not have a choice. Saving our ancestor Shen Shang is extremely important to Shen Clan, I hope you can understand. Fang Yuan nodded with a plain expression, he even had a smile on his face. Of course I understand, if it were me, I would do the same. But Shen Clan wants to recruit me. He. Fang Yuan laughed as he shook his head. Shen Shang said coldly, Friend Chu, why are you laughing? Fang Yuan raised his eyebrows. on what foundation is your Shen Clan trying to recruit me? You guys are simply unqualified. Shen Shang's gaze turned cold as ice. His Shen Clan was an Eastern Sea super force. They owned 7 large sea areas and thousands of middle and small sea areas. They even had 2 rank 8s now. With such strength, they were not qualified to recruit a tiny lone immortal. Humph, Chu Ying, don't be too arrogant. My Shen Clan is giving you a chance. This is the magnanimity of our ancestor Shen Shang. Don't think too highly of yourself. Shen Shao and Shen Qi quickly spoke. They flew out of the supplementary formations, gathering with Shen Shang and Shen Shang. Shen Shang's bloodshot eyes had deep killing intent. He looked at Fang Yuan and spoke with an icy voice. Chu Ying, I need to remind you, you were all sent here by the merit obelisk. Paradise Earth's method restricts you from fighting each other. But I have been trapped here for countless years. I am not restricted by the merit obelisk, so all of you can be attacked by me. The expressions of Miao Ming, Shen and the rest changed. Their worst nightmare had come true. What should they do now? Right when they were helpless, they suddenly heard Fang Yuan laughing loudly as he pointed his finger at Shen Shang, who was in the sky, provoking him to attack. Miao Ming, Shen and the rest were dumbfounded. Was this courage or stupidity? They could not tell. Shen Shang's eyes shined with blood-red light as he lowered his voice that was filled with anger. You are courting death, then go die. Saying so, he opened his mouth as a blood-colored sound wave in a ball shape shot towards Fang Yuan. The sound wave was very fast. In almost an instant, it flew through the sky and landed on the supplementary formation. Boom! The supplementary formation collapsed instantly. It did not even last for a moment. An intense explosion occurred. A huge sea wave surged into the sky. It was tens of feet tall. Before the wave landed, the explosion had already caused damage to the surroundings. Miao Ming, Shen and the rest had to fly into the sky, away from their supplementary formations. All of the supplementary formations were destroyed. Miao Ming, Shen and the rest had ashen expressions. Shen Shang's attack was definitely at rank 8 level. It was terrifying. From their perspective, there was little chance that Chu Ying survived that. The truth was, they did not care about Chu Ying's situation right now. They were more worried about themselves. Because Shen Shang had proven his words from earlier with action, he could really attack Miao Ming, Shen and the others. Ancestor is so powerful. Shen Shang squinted. He knew the inside details. Shen Shang did not cultivate sound path primarily. The sound path method he used earlier was not his true strength. Chu Ying is dead meat. Good that he died. I disliked him from the start. Indeed, he only had rank 7 cultivation level but acted so arrogantly because he knew things about the dragon whale paradise. He truly had no regard for us. He dared to provoke a rank 8, he truly wanted to die. Shen Shao said as he suddenly stammered. After the huge waves crashed down, new enormous waves were formed. Within the steam and mist, a shiny ship that was covered in silver-white light appeared in front of all of the immortals. Chu Ying's arms were behind his back. He stood at the deck as he carried the same smile as before. Shen Shang saw this as his pupils shrunk. He gasped with shock. Rank 8 Immortal Gu House. The other Gu immortals were all stunned. They were so familiar with this Immortal Gu House. No, in the current 5 regions, which Gu immortal did not know about this Immortal Gu House? This is Myriad, your flying warship. Ren Xiaoping cried out. He felt his scalp going numb. Chu Ying actually has Myriad, your flying warship. Who in the world is he? Shen Shao was tongue-tied. The immortals stared at Fang Yuan with fixed gazes. He gradually dispelled familiar face as he showed his true appearance. After seeing his true appearance, all of the immortals' hearts shook. None of them could stay indifferent. Hua Dai screamed out loud, "It's Fang Yuan." She was too shocked. She had always felt that Fang Yuan was high and mighty, far away from people like them, to think that he was around her the entire time. It was truly unbelievable. It's Fang Yuan. Shen Clan's Gu immortals gritted their teeth, some were breathing and gasping loudly. So that was it. Miao Ming gulped as he swallowed his saliva. Chewing was a fake identity of Fang Yuan. After all, how could such a powerful lone immortal appear in Eastern Sea suddenly? It was Fang Yuan after all. Who was Fang Yuan? He had inherited many venerable inheritances. He was someone who could not be assessed with common sense. No wonder Chewing had such attainment in transformation path and formation path. This was just a fragment of Fang Yuan's true strength. Now everything made sense. Shen Shang's expression was pale as he gritted his teeth. In just a short time, sweat had gathered on his forehead already. So it was this great demon Fang Yuan. No wonder he had such an attitude. Even against two rank 8s, he showed such disdain towards Shen Clan. It was normal. Shen Shang suddenly felt that it was a logical situation. All of his anger towards Chu Ying's arrogance vanished completely without a trace. Fang Yuan dared to provoke even Heavenly Court and kill their members. How could Shen Clan even compare? After his anger subsided, he felt intense fear afterwards. He actually met with Fang Yuan. This was such a problematic person. Shen Shang sighed in his heart. His luck was really bad. Why did he meet Fang Yuan of all people? At this moment, his rank 8 strength could not give him confidence. He was panicking internally. At this moment, Shen Shang heard Shen Shang's voice. Who is Fang Yuan? Shen Shang looked at Shen Shang, who had a confused expression. He felt that this was very strange. This Gu immortal only had rank 7 cultivation level. He had only changed his appearance. Why were they all so afraid? Shen Shang looked at Shen Shang with a gaze that had slight questioning. It seemed to be saying, "You are a great rank 8, why are you afraid of a rank 7, what is there to fear?" Even though Fang Yuan showed his appearance, he did not reveal his rank 8 aura, it was still concealed. Shen Shang blinked as he shuddered internally. Could he remain calm? Could he look at Fang Yuan using common sense and cultivation level? He was a ruthless demon who dared to trample on Heavenly Court. He destroyed 6 immortal Gu houses belonging to Heavenly Court earlier. He even slaughtered a bunch of Heavenly Court Gu immortals. He was ruthless and scheming. Even Heavenly Court was without options against him. Now that Shen Clan offended him, forget about 2 rank 8s, even if they had a group of rank 8s, Shen Shang would not feel safe at all. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1907, Human Path Quasi-Supreme. 1907 Human Path Quasi-Supreme. At this point, Fang Yuan was no longer like before. Heavenly Court was the reason for his overwhelming fame and dominance. Even though he only displayed rank 7 cultivation level, it was enough to intimidate most rank 8 Gu immortals in the world. Ancestor. Shen Shang sent an information path mortal Gu to Shen Shang. It contained everything they knew about Fang Yuan. Shen Shang received the mortal Gu as his divine sense swept through it. He looked towards Fang Yuan with a new type of gaze. Fang Yuan. Even Heavenly Court cannot do anything against you, ha ha ha, interesting. Shen Shang's eyes burst out with blood-red light. He laughed wildly. To think that a person like you would appear in the world, this is wonderful, because now I won't feel lonely. Saying so, a strong aura burst out of his body, overwhelming the surroundings and dominating everyone's hearts. Not only did Shen Shang not feel threatened by Fang Yuan's information, he even became extremely motivated to fight. Looking at Shen Shang's action, Shen Shang felt a sense of confidence in his heart. I'm likely not Fang Yuan's match, but with Ancestor Shen Shang here, who is not an ordinary rank 8 Gu immortal, the outcome is still unknown. While he was thinking that, a silver light shot out and filled Shen Shang's vision. Damn it! The alarms in Shen Shang's mind rang wildly. He quickly retreated. At the next moment, myriad year flying warship flew over, drawing a beautiful arc of light in the air as it traveled. If he reacted slower and stayed on the spot, Shen Shang would have been hit by myriad year flying warship. Shen Shang did not dare to imagine the result of that collision. This was the advantage of an immortal Gu house. Activating immortal killer moves took time, but using an immortal Gu house to charge and rampage would instantly allow one to unleash an offensive method. Myriad Year Flying Warship shot off again. Fang Yuan mobilized Myriad Year Flying Warship and went after Shen Shang, ignoring Shen Shang completely. Shen Shang did not dare to test Myriad Year Flying Warship with his bare body either, he was forced into being chased around by Myriad Year Flying Warship. Shen Shang and the other Shen Clan Gu immortals wanted to help out, but they were helpless when they found out that they could not attack Fang Yuan. Damn it! Shen Shang gritted his teeth. In this situation, Shen Clan's superiority in numbers could not be used, they could only watch as Fang Yuan fought against Shen Shang. As for Miao Ming, Shen and the rest, they did not dare to participate in such a battle, they were retreating already, hiding at a corner of the battlefield. Shen Shang, as an ancestor of Shen Clan, all you can do is run around. Fang Yuan mocked from within Myriad Year Flying Warship. But even inside Myriad Year Flying Warship, he was still restricted by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerables method. Fang Yuan had many subordinates in the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, but he could not let them out. He could only control Myriad Year Flying Warship alone. If he could let out his subordinates, his numbers would far surpass Shen Clan. Humph, arrogant junior. Shen Shang was angered by Fang Yuan's words, he stopped in the air and used an immortal killer move. Shen Shang's flying attainment was very high, he was able to fly rapidly, capable of catching up to Myriad Year Flying Warship. In the process of escaping, he had been preparing his killer move, he finally unleashed it now. Immortal Killer Move, Night Song. The melancholic song quickly spread across the battlefield, and the sadness contained in it was like a tidal wave, constantly filling the hearts of the people. The song had a slow tempo, it focused on the person's vocals, along with the sounds of drums and zither, it was traditional yet sad. Hua Dai and Feng Jiang, who were at the periphery, were already crying. Miao Ming, Shen, Ren Xiaoping, and the rest all had sad expressions, they could not help it. Fang Yuan snorted coldly, Myriad Year Flying Warship shined with radiance as it helped him to block the power of Night Song. But Shen Shang had already achieved his goal. He activated Night Song, not to directly deal with the Gu immortals here, but to create a battlefield environment. The song enveloped the sea and sky, a trace of twilight mist spread out from the sound waves, permeating the entire field, and after a few breaths, the entire regret-crying sea turned pitch black. The Gu immortals were trapped in this dark area and could not see anything, all they could hear was the sorrowful night song, their morale and battle intent fell drastically. If this continued, they were going to be defenseless. Even though Fang Yuan was barely affected, the surrounding darkness meant that he had lost sight of his target as well. Fang Yuan immediately activated his investigative method, to try to find Shen Shang's location. But Shen Shang sensed something as he laughed, Fang Yuan, you fell for my trap. Saying so, he activated a killer move, sensory injury. Fang Yuan grunted immediately, he was directly hit by it. He was shocked as he quickly realized, this is a human path killer move. No wonder my Myriad Year Flying Warship could not guard against it. Immortal Gu houses had both offense and defense, they provided a huge assurance to the Gu immortal and were very safe. But this defense was not perfect. When Fang Yuan designed Myriad Year Flying Warship, he considered most paths, but human path was his weakness, he was not a human path grandmaster back then. By the time he gained the attainment level, Myriad Year Flying Warship was already built, it could not be changed, he could only adjust it a little, but there could not be major modifications. And most importantly, Fang Yuan lacked defensive human path Immortal Gu. Shen Shang definitely has a high-rank human path Immortal Gu. After Fang Yuan was hit, he understood a bit of his enemy's foundation. In terms of information, Fang Yuan was the one at the losing end. He did not know much about Shen Shang, but Shen Shang knew a lot about him. Fang Yuan had trump cards, of course, like his rank 8 cultivation level, 5 restriction profound light qi, and others, but he intended to keep these methods as a secret, he did not want to expose them now. Within this dragon whale paradise, Fang Yuan could not attack Shen Shang, Miao Ming Shen, and Ren Xiaoping. If they brought this information out of Dragon Whale Paradise, it was easy for others to find out. Thus, Fang Yuan decided to use the methods that he had already exposed before to fight. Immortal Killer Move, Daybreak Sword. Myriad Year Flying Warship's aura surged as a blinding white light shot out. From the silver white light bubbled the water of the river of time, from which countless strands of silver light emerged. The silver rays quickly condensed and took shape, transforming into many sharp sword-like blades that shot out violently. The group of flying swords whistled past, pointing straight at Shen Shang. Daybreak Flying Sword was a genuine rank 8 killer move. Its power was immense, but when Shen Shang saw the group of flying swords, he laughed loudly and did not dodge. Silver-white flying swords landed on his body. Shen Shang's body surged with a mysterious aura. He did not die but was covered in injuries. But soon, all the injuries over his body disappeared and turned into Dao marks. Incredible. The records in the clan are indeed correct. Ancestor Shen Shang was most proficient at healing. Shen Shang saw this scene and exclaimed in his mind. When Shen Shang was still young, he was a healing physician. When he was a Gu master, he began to travel Eastern Sea, and because of his powerful and unique healing methods, he soon became famous and well-known. He was also praised for his charitable acts, often helping the poor and needy without charging the slightest consultation fee. He received a warm welcome wherever he went. Precisely because of his fame and reputation established in his youth, when he fell into the demonic path later and committed all sorts of demonic acts, Eastern Sea's Gu immortals did not manage to link these crimes to him. Within Myriad Year Flying Warship, Fang Yuan squinted his eyes and felt something amiss. This healing method is another human path killer move. Under normal circumstances, the injuries of Gu immortals would have dense Dao marks that were difficult to heal. But Shen Shang possessed human path methods. He could heal himself with extreme efficiency and yielded quick results. The group of flying swords continued to shoot out, many of them piercing through his body. However, these wounds were completely healed almost instantly. Immortal Killer Move, Mutual Injuries. Shen Shang saw that the time was ripe and quickly unleashed the killer move that he had already prepared. In Myriad Year Flying Warship, Fang Yuan grunted as hundreds of wounds instantly formed on his body. Wounds burst open and blood splattered everywhere. The wounds were filled with human path Dao marks, which then spread rapidly from the wounds, scattering everywhere while being connected as one. Alarm bells rang in Fang Yuan's heart. These human path Dao marks were like a hanging rope around his neck. Once the numbers increased, it would endanger Fang Yuan's life. At the crucial moment, Fang Yuan activated his wisdom path killer move first. In an instant, the thoughts in his mind blossomed like fireworks. All sorts of thoughts collided, converged and fused into each other. Shen Shang's methods are bizarre. He was able to bypass Myriad Year Flying Warship to directly injure me. Such a terrifying killer move. His human path attainment level is definitely more than a level above mine. I'm afraid he's a human path quasi-supreme grandmaster. Any killer move needs to sense its target first. It can only take effect after it senses its target. How did he sense me? I see. The previous Night Song killer move was just a trap to lure me into detecting him. He then followed this connection and found his way to me. Everything in this world was interconnected. When a fist hits a sand dune, a pit would appear on the sand, while the fist would also be covered in sand and mud. Previously, Eastern Sea Wisdom Path Gu Immortal Huan deduced Fang Yuan, but instead, Fang Yuan followed this connection and deduced Hua and situation. Not long ago, Heavenly Court Gu Immortals moved to blockade the Stone Lotus Island with the River Suppression Lotus Sealing Formation, and it was with this layer of suppression and sealing that Fang Yuan was able to follow this connection and destroy the River Suppression Lotus Sealing Formation. Now, Shen Shang did the same thing to sense Fang Yuan. It followed the same logic. In just half a breath of time, Fang Yuan had already figured it out. He immediately made his move, making Myriad Year Flying Warship retreat while scattering the Daybreak Flying Swords, while he began to activate a healing killer move on himself. His reaction was so swift that it left Shen Shang slightly stunned. At the next moment, this demonic immortal, who was suppressed by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable himself, laughed with a hint of madness. Fang Yuan. Do you think you'll be safe if you don't attack me? Ha ha ha, watch closely. As he said that, he activated a killer move again, his 5 fingers spread wide and his palm pressed against his chest. Immortal killer move, light injuries. Shen Shang grunted as he was hit by his own killer move, his expression turned pale. Within myriad your flying worship, Fang Yuan's body shook as he coughed out a huge mouthful of blood. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1908, Black Fire. 1908 Black Fire. Non-conflicting Dao marks. The sovereign immortal body's greatest advantage was also its greatest weakness. At this moment, it was fully exposed. All along, Fang Yuan had been consciously avoiding this flaw, but Shen Shang's killer move was too peculiar, it could not be guarded against. Who could have thought that Night Song killer move was just a trap? Shen Shang was chased by myriad your flying worship, it was a normal thing to use this killer move to conceal his own traces. If Fang Yuan did not use an investigative method, Shen Shang would hide within the darkness, he would not be able to do anything. The human path Dao marks on Fang Yuan's injuries grew rapidly. The light injuries on Shen Shang's body also affected Fang Yuan due to the killer move mutual injuries. And in Fang Yuan's case, because of non-conflicting Dao marks, his light injuries became heavy injuries. But thankfully, all sorts of healing killer moves had their full effect when used on Fang Yuan as well. Thus, as he used a powerful healing method on himself, Fang Yuan instantly recovered. Immortal killer move, heavy injuries. Shen Shang snickered as he started to hurt himself, with greater intensity than before. Fang Yuan's body shook intensely, his vision turned dark as his 7 orifices started to bleed. No. In terms of healing methods, I cannot compare to Shen Shang, I need to find another way. Fang Yuan understood as determination flashed in his eyes. Immortal killer. Immortal killer move, heavy injuries. Immortal killer move, heavy injuries. Immortal killer move, heavy injuries. Shen Shang continued to injure himself as he turned crazy, he laughed loudly as blood spewed out of his mouth. He heavily injured himself but rapidly healed as well, continuing the cycle. This was such a strange fighting style, it made all the Gu immortals dumbfounded. Miao Ming, Shen and the rest had nervous expressions, they were very worried. Shen Clan's Gu immortals were very excited. Even though they could not see Fang Yuan's condition, his flying swords had disintegrated while myriad your flying worship continued to back off. Ancestor Shen Shang actually forced back Fang Yuan. Impressive. Shen Sheng was very excited, he could also see the rise of Shen Clan. Miao Ming Shen's eyes shined with bright light as he thought to himself, not good, even though Fang Yuan has myriad your flying worship, Shen Shang's offensive methods bypass this immortal Gu house, it counters Fang Yuan. He is just a rank 7 after all while Shen Shang is a genuine rank 8 Gu immortal. Gu He and Tu Tua were very confused, this Shen Shang was suppressed by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable back then, it is not normal that he could live for so long. And the strange thing is, he does not lack immortal Gu. When Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable suppressed him, didn't he take away or destroy his immortal Gu first? Ugh. Right at this moment, Shen Shang's wild laughter came to an abrupt stop. Surprise and confusion appeared on his face. His connection to Fang Yuan was weakening rapidly. How did Fang Yuan do it? How could he break and get around this method so quickly? Immortal killer move, self-cleansing. Self-cleansing could eliminate harmful Dao marks on the user's body. Fang Yuan used this killer move to quickly get rid of the human path Dao marks on his body. The blood-red light in Shen Shang's eyes flickered, he started to mutilate himself even more intensely, causing the human path Dao marks on Fang Yuan's body to grow rapidly. As long as a single human path Dao mark remained on Fang Yuan's body, he could use this connection to attack Fang Yuan while bypassing myriad-year flying worship. But right now, Fang Yuan had already stabilized the situation. Myriad-year flying worship gradually flew closer as Fang Yuan's voice resounded from within, "It is my turn now, Shen Shang." 12 Zodiac Ancient Battle Formation. Bam! With a loud sound, the huge gray stone giant appeared again. The giant moved extremely quickly, its two hands grabbed towards Shen Shang as they spread open. Shen Shang squinted and snorted coldly. He quickly retreated, attempting to pull some distance from the giant. Under Fang Yuan's manipulation, the gray stone giant only attempted to capture Shen Shang, it did not attack fiercely. The gray stone giant had very powerful offensive methods, even though this was not the River of Time, it still had peak rank 8 strength. But he was currently using capture as the objective instead of hurting Shen Shang. Shen Shang had no choice but to dodge. The battle went into a deadlock. Shen Shang dodged the 12 Zodiac battle formation while using killer moves to mutilate himself. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan manipulated myriad-year flying worship as he healed himself, using self-cleansing to get rid of harmful human path Dao marks. Myriad-year flying worship and the gray stone giant worked together, chasing after Shen Shang and obstructing him. Shen Shang was already having some trouble dodging myriad-year flying worship, with the addition of the gray stone giant, he fell into a disadvantage. Every time he was about to get caught, Shen Shang would emit a loud scream that caused sound waves to burst out, opening a path for him. Both sides continued to fight, rampaging in the battlefield. It implicated Miao Ming Shen's group, as well as the Shen Clan immortals. Hua Dai and Feng Jiang were first to give up, they were transported away from the battlefield. Followed by Tong Hua, Tu Tu Tua, Gue Chi Yi and the rest. After that were Shen Clan's immortals, Miao Ming Shen, and Ren Xiaoping. Eventually, only Shen Sheng was left in the battlefield. Not everyone was qualified to watch a battle between rank 8s after all. Shen Sheng's expression became increasingly dark. The battle was tilting in Fang Yuan's favor. Shen Shang was getting into a difficult spot while Fang Yuan was having an easier time now. This lad has deep wisdom path attainment, he has countless thoughts in his mind, he can multitask easily. In this aspect, I am at the losing end. Shen Shang gritted his teeth. At this point in the battle, he felt like he had fallen into a swamp. The more he struggled, the deeper he sank. The battle had already left his control. Suddenly, Fang Yuan walked out of the cabin, arriving at the bow of the ship. He pointed at Shen Shang as a time path killer move was unleashed. Shen Shang was caught off guard, he could not dodge. After getting hit by this move, his movement slowed, the rate of time on him had been halved. The gray stone giant used this chance to grab Shen Shang, it squeezed. Shen Shang laughed loudly, his hair was messy and his eyes were bloodshot. He had no fear. Go ahead and kill me. Fang Yuan snorted, he ordered the gray stone giant, it gripped to form a cage of 10 fingers, imprisoning Shen Shang and preventing him from moving. After understanding Shen Shang's offensive methods, Fang Yuan easily countered it. As long as he was captured and not killed, he could not do anything to harm Fang Yuan. Shen Shang struggled, he screamed wildly but could not escape. Shen Shang saw that the situation was bad, he wanted to help but was quickly faced with backlash, he could not get away from Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable's restrictions. I finally succeeded. Fang Yuan let out a breath of air. Shen Shang lived up to his reputation, this person who was suppressed by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable personally really had some skills. His methods were peculiar and strange, they were hard to guard against. Fang Yuan had fallen for them earlier. Of course, Fang Yuan still controlled the situation without wasting many of his hidden trump cards. In the worst case, Fang Yuan could return to the starting island. With this assurance, he could not lose to begin with. "Ah!" Shen Shang shouted loudly, his face was distorted. Fang Yuan's brows slowly started to furrow. Shen Shang's current situation was quite strange, he constantly laughed and struggled madly without using any immortal killer moves. At the next moment, his bloodshot eyes turned pitch black, the black color spread until it filled his eyes. With a light sound, a lump of black fire started to burn on his body. Within the fire, Shen Shang's body shook like he was having a spasm, he drooled uncontrollably as he waved his limbs around, he growled like a wild beast that was out of control. The black fire on Shen Shang's body was not eye-catching, but once it spread to the grey stone giant's hands, the giant screamed in pain as it got burned by the fire. After both hands got into contact with the black fire, they started to melt, completely defenseless against this strange black fire. Fang Yuan's gaze turned colder, the peculiarity and strength of this black fire was far beyond his imagination. Seeing that the situation was bad, Fang Yuan quickly deactivated the ancient battle formation. At the next moment, the grey stone giant vanished while 12 immemorial year beasts appeared in the sky. Among them, 2 immemorial year beasts contacted the black fire and lost their reasoning, they rolled around in the sky, growling in pain as they struggled intensely. Thankfully, the other 10 immemorial year beasts acted like this was their biggest threat. After regaining freedom, they quickly fled from the black fire as far as they could. Fang Yuan and Shen Shang frowned deeply with solemn expressions. This black fire was too strange, the two of them could not tell what path this black fire belonged to. At the same time, they felt an extreme feeling of threat, their skulls felt numb as they sensed this danger. The black fire was like the enemy of all life forms. The 2 immemorial year beasts were already covered in the fire, they growled as they fell to the ground. Fang Yuan had a strong premonition, if these 2 immemorial year beasts fell into the seawater, the black fire would cause an even greater tragedy. But he did not do anything, he went into myriad-year flying warship and retreated. Shen Shang, who had lost the restriction of the grey stone giant, floated in the air and laughed wildly like a lunatic. Shen Shang called him several times but it went unheard. Seeing this strange situation, Shen Shang also wisely chose to retreat. Right when those 2 immemorial year beasts were about to enter the water, a golden white pillar of light shot out from the underwater formation, pushing these 2 immemorial year beasts up into the sky. The underwater formation that had only 40% left burst out with unprecedented power as it operated at full force. The golden white light expanded as it covered Shen Shang as well. The black fire continued to burn Shen Shang and the 2 immemorial year beasts, but the white gold light pillar immobilized them on the spot. Such a change caused Shen Shang to be stunned. Suddenly, Fang Yuan made his move, daybreak flying swords flew out and pierced the white gold light pillar, stabbing into Shen Shang. Stop it! Watching that his ancestor was attacked by Fang Yuan, Shen Shang shouted anxiously. Fang Yuan smiled coldly as he activated his flying swords with even greater intensity. This odd black fire was very harmful. Seeing that the underwater formation had taken action to stop it from even entering the sea, it was obvious. Shen Shang could only watch helplessly. Fang Yuan willed again as his flying sword split into 2 groups, the other group went to attack his immemorial year beasts. Due to the attack of the daybreak flying swords, the black fire still burned but it had weakened by a very slight amount. Daybreak sword was a rank 8 killer move, yet it nearly had no effect. Fang Yuan continued to attack, but the black fire suddenly changed, transforming into lumps of silver-white mist. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1909, Shen Shang Des Immortal Materials. 1909 Shen Shang Des Immortal Materials. This black fire can still transform. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with bright light. He shook his head immediately after. The silver-white mist still had a strange aura, it did not belong to any path. The silver-white mist did not seem to be fundamentally different from the black fire, and while enveloped by it, Shen Shang was still going crazy, the 2 immemorial year beasts were also continuing to howl. When Fang Yuan fired his daybreak flying swords again, he discovered that the power of the daybreak flying swords actually boosted the silver-white mist, causing the latter to increase in size. Suspicious, Fang Yuan immediately changed his mind and went on a furious rampage with wind blades instead. The silver-white mist was weakened again, but the rate of decline was still very small. After the attack lasted for a while, the silver-white mist suddenly turned into 3 large whirlwinds, covering Shen Shang and the 2 immemorial year beasts. Fang Yuan's wind blades shot into the whirlwind and began to boost the latter's power again. Fang Yuan started to experiment and wisely began to swap his tactics. Other Gu immortals might have to stop, but Fang Yuan cultivated all paths. He had an astonishing number of immortal Gu at his disposal. He also had attainment level in many paths. he was even more skilled at transitioning to different paths. Under Fang Yuan's attack, the strange black fire kept transforming and getting smaller and smaller. The two immemorial year beasts were the first to die without their corpses left. Fang Yuan was soon left with only Shen Shang as his target. Wait, wait. Fang Yuan, I have a huge amount of wealth to gift to you. Shen Shang could no longer watch this continue, he called out loudly. To his joy, Fang Yuan actually stopped. Fang Yuan looked at Shen Shang and smiled, do you want me to let your clan's ancestor go? You should know that this is a demonic immortal, the very demonic immortal that Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable suppressed personally in the past. You've seen his current state, crazy as a beast, delirious, and consistent with what is described on the merit obelisk. You still want to save him? Shen Shang looked deeply at the imprisoned Shen Shang in the pillar of light and made up his mind, I believe this madness is only temporary. It would be too much of a coincidence if ancestor Shen Shang happened to fall into permanent madness right when I was about to rescue him, right? And what price can you pay for that? Fang Yuan asked. How about you take a look at this? Shen Shang pulled out an immortal material. It was a bag. The bag was not large and seemed to be the size of a grown man's fist. However, the surface of the bag was covered with a pattern that seemed like gems or blue swirls. If one stared closely, one would notice that these sapphire-like swirls were constantly rotating. But when one came back to one's senses, these lines were still lines, as if the scene had just been an illusion. Fang Yuan, however, raised his eyebrows and lightly smiled, so it's the treasure blue beaver's stomach pouch. Treasure blue beaver was an immemorial desolate beast, often traveling between Eastern Sea and immemorial blue heaven. Now that immemorial blue heaven had shattered, the treasure blue beaver also went extinct. In history, the Gu immortal who slaughtered the most treasure blue beavers was Old Immortal Kong Ju. Old Immortal Kong Ju was one of the three supreme grandmasters of refinement path, comparable to long hair ancestor. The treasure blue beaver that he went after and paid attention to was naturally extraordinary. Not to mention, this stomach pouch alone was half an immortal aperture, it contained space path and water path Dao marks, there was a whole small world inside of it, which could hide countless treasures. A Gu immortal could obtain it and merge it into his or her immortal aperture, increasing the size of their grotto heaven. Because of this characteristic, the treasure blue beaver had been hunted down and killed extensively by Gu immortals. It was no surprise that treasure blue beavers went extinct. The stomach pouch of the treasure blue beaver could be said to be the most valuable thing in its body. And in today's world where treasure blue beavers were extinct, the value of this stomach pouch was even higher than normal. In short, this was an extremely rare and highly valuable treasure. Fang Yuan reached out his hand and directly took this stomach pouch from Shen Shang's hands. The stomach pouch was light and the surface was very slippery. Fang Yuan inspected it and found that nothing was tampered, so he put it into his immortal aperture in front of Shen Shang without any concern. Next, he smiled, anything else? Shen Shang took a deep breath and pulled out a long black rod with much difficulty, and this one too, catch it. He gathered strength and threw the black rod at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan stretched out his arm to catch it, the rod was very heavy, but he also had a lot of strength path Dao marks on him, it was naturally easy. Unlike Shen Shang who was a pure sound path Gu immortal. This black rod was taller than Fang Yuan, it had the thickness of a goose egg, the surface was also very rough, the weight was not light, as if it was a crude iron tool. However, Fang Yuan could feel a dense aura of life from it. This was an ancient desolate plant. But it had no roots, no branches, nor leaves, there was only the trunk. At the top of the trunk, there were countless star marks, some of them were five-edged, some two-edged, compactly arranged, all of them were emitting pale starlight. Falling Star Rod Tree. Fang Yuan spoke. Shen Shang nodded his head and exclaimed, Fang Yuan, your extensive knowledge is to be admired. The growth conditions of this tree were still a mystery as it had been extraordinarily rare and low in quantity since ancient times. It had the unique trait of constantly attracting stars, falling into the trunk of the tree and turning into a single star mark. That was why it was called Falling Star. According to rumors, one of the motives that Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable had when he traveled the world alone was to collect this tree. The value of the falling star rod tree did not just lie in itself. By planting it in the immortal aperture, the Gu immortal could use it to create an entire system of orbiting stars. It was a unique ecology that brought incremental gains every year, and the total amount of gains over time, day after day, year after year, was almost impossible to estimate. Like the treasure blue beaver's stomach pouch, Fang Yuan placed the falling star rod tree into the immortal aperture once again. The natural demeanor that he had almost gave Shen Shang the illusion that this rare immemorial desolate plant belonged to Fang Yuan in the first place. What else? Fang Yuan smiled, these alone can't exchange for a rank 8 great expert. Shen Shang gritted his teeth and said, I'm sure this immortal material will be able to satisfy you. This time, he took out a lump of water. The water was constrained in a ball, constantly creating waves. The waves were not just on the surface of the water, but even within the water, it was rising endlessly. Although there were countless waves, they were uncluttered. The water waves rose and fell in unison, advancing at one moment and retreating at the next. It could be called an orderly advance and retreat. When Fang Yuan saw this, his eyes shined with bright light and he said, advancing and retreating tidal water. Indeed, this was one of the three great waters of the world, advancing and retreating tidal water. It was a rank 9 immortal material. This point alone made it far more valuable than the treasure blue beaver stomach pouch and the falling star rod tree combined. Not to mention that it had many wonderful uses. I have a total of 12 portions of the advancing and retreating tidal water here, I can give them all to you. Shen Shang gave his offer. Fang Yuan could not help but sigh lightly, Shen Clan is worthy of being a super force of Eastern Sea, you really have impressive assets. Shen Shang smiled, we are flattered. But at the next moment, Fang Yuan said, but that's not enough. It's not enough. Shen Shang's pupils shrank as he showed an awkward expression. Fang Yuan sneered and began to use his daybreak swords again, stabbing Shen Shang one sword at a time. Shen Shang was still insane and kept on growling. Shen Shang gnashed his teeth as he watched his ancestor being attacked. My ancestor is insane now, he is not the same as an intact rank 8 Gu immortal. We both know that. But as you said before, there should still be times when he doesn't go crazy, shouldn't there? Fang Yuan was still sneering. Fang Yuan. Shen Shang said in a low voice. What? Fang Yuan raised his hand, a large number of daybreak flying swords shot toward Shen Shang. Shen Shang almost gritted his teeth till they shattered, alright, what else do you want, immortal Gu? Of course I won't be that greedy. Fang Yuan shook his head and said with ease, I want immortal materials, but not like the 3 that you gave me. They are all too highly ranked, I need a large number of rank 6 and 7 immortal materials, the larger the variety and quantity, the better it will be. Shen Clan is one of the super forces of Eastern Sea, you own 7 large sea areas and thousands of middle and small sea areas, you'll even have 2 rank 8 existences in the future. This little request should not be hard, right? Of course, not. Shen Shang's expression was heavy, but what will our Shen Clan get? A crazy rank 8? He is a hidden threat himself. And it's a hidden threat that can even force the merciful Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable to personally take action to eliminate. Shen Shang was definitely a qualified leader. When it came to the clan's interests, he was logical to the point of being almost emotionless. Undeniably, Shen Shang's insanity had caused his value to plummet immensely. And the terrifying hidden danger he was carrying further reduced this value to almost a negative number. Shen Clan wanted as many rank 8s as they could. But they did not want a crazy rank 8 without any reasoning. A rank 8 without sanity was just a burden, unable to differentiate enemy and friend, they were a laughing stock for others, and would even bring calamity to Shen Clan because of their reckless killing. Shen Shang saw the hidden threat within Shen Shang and kept the worry in his heart. He also did not have the slightest confidence that he would be able to solve this problem. Therefore, when he took out these 3 valuable resources in exchange for Shen Shang, he showed great sincerity. Fang Yuan laughed and pointed his finger at Shen Shang, he is your ancestor, the person you went to great lengths to save. At this point, he paused, of course, this is by no means the only thing you will get. You'll also gain, my friendship. Oh. Shen Shang showed a look of sudden interest, how so? In today's world, with the earth veins frequently shifting and the 5 regions fusing as one, it's bound to be a chaotic world. Although Shen Clan is in Eastern Sea, it is by no means a paradise. Eastern Sea has the most resources and wealth that lure people's greed. Even when the 5 regional walls exist, there is a steady stream of Gu immortals coming here. What do you think will happen in the future? Fang Yuan spoke casually. In this situation, what is the use of the differentiating righteous path and demonic path? If Shen Clan and I join forces, it will be a strong partnership. Of course, we can keep this partnership hidden as much as we want. Your esteemed clan is extremely affluent, while I am free to do anything I want without burden. Central Continent is far more powerful than the other 4 regions, so if they attack Eastern Sea in the future, will Shen Clan want to surrender or remain self-reliant? Even if you surrender, will all the super forces in Eastern Sea surrender? This is why, there is never a shortage of enemies, but allies like me are extremely rare to come across. The fact that you and I have met here is truly a great opportunity. If we continue to fight, it will only lead to a lose-lose situation. But if we help each other, it will be a win-win situation. Currently, we are dealing with the Paradise Earth True Inheritance and Shen Shang. In the future, we will cooperate to deal with Central Continent and manipulate the entire state of the world. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1910, Everyone's Immortal Materials. 1910 Everyone's Immortal Materials. Fang Yuan's words made Shen Shang go silent. The sea breeze ruffled his clothes as he hovered in the air, deep in thought. Fang Yuan stopped attacking with his daybreak swords and allowed him to ponder quietly. The future of the 5 regions' chaotic war had already been foreseen by all the major forces. Shen Clan was a super force in Eastern Sea, but in such a chaotic situation, it was also like a rocky boat in a stormy sea. Shen Shang was not stupid. Other leaders of their respective forces also had great foresight. They were considering what direction they should take in the future when chaos ensues. This was a big change, and if one was not careful, the tide of the Great Era would drown all those who did not plan well ahead of the storm. This certainly included super forces. Throughout history, even in relatively peaceful times, countless super forces had disappeared. Not to mention the Great Era when a venerable would appear, almost all of the existing order would be overturned, and in the midst of this, countless super forces would be destroyed and created. The situation of the 5 regions would become completely altered beyond recognition. How should one attempt to live in such an era? This was something that every Gu immortal with foresight was wondering about. Should they cooperate and join forces with Fang Yuan? This was the question Shen Shang had to think about now. In terms of qualifications, Fang Yuan was perfectly qualified to work with Shen Clan. In fact, Shen Shang was still a little worried that Shen Clan was the unqualified party. Because he himself was not a match for Fang Yuan. But if he rescued Shen Shang and resolved the hidden threat in his body, along with Shen Clan's immortal Gu house, they would have the foundation to cooperate with Fang Yuan. Shen Shang knew that Shen Clan needed external allies like Fang Yuan. It might be unlikely in times of peace, but in the future, when the 5 regions' chaotic war starts, there would be a great chance that Shen Clan would be in danger and at the point of extermination. At this time, Fang Yuan would certainly be unreliable. It would be a blessing if he did not gang up on Shen Clan in the first place. Shen Shang knew very well about Fang Yuan's demonic nature. But what about the time when Shen Clan needs to deal with an equivalent superforce? For example, Xie Clan, Kai Clan, Hua Clan, Tang Clan, and even Song Clan. Shen Clan was situated near the center of Eastern Sea, surrounded by many super forces. It was as if they were caught in a siege. Without seeking a direction to break out and grow while they could, during the 5 regions' chaotic war, they would end up as fodder for other powerful enemies. Under such circumstances, if Shen Clan could pay a large sum of resources in exchange for powerful help like Fang Yuan, why should they hesitate? Fang Yuan possessed a rank 8 immortal Gu house, multiple venerable inheritances, and was able to repeatedly trample Heavenly Court underfoot. Such a powerful battle power was what Shen Clan needed. It was something every super force desired. If they did not cooperate with Fang Yuan now, what would they do if he worked with their enemies in the future? In the current situation, Heavenly Court had to repair Fate Gu. Fang Yuan wanted to deal with Heavenly Court. He needed a large amount of low-ranked immortal materials. This was a great chance to cooperate with him. Just like Fang Yuan said, this was a chance for both Shen Clan and himself. Both sides had their own needs. Of course, there were still many concerns. Working with a demon like Fang Yuan was indeed very risky. For example, if he goes back on his word in the future, he would still be free to do as he pleased. Nobody including Heavenly Court could do anything about it. What could Shen Clan possibly do with him? Moreover, it is impossible to make an alliance agreement here. Both sides lacked a basis for trust. But in reality, even if there was an agreement, could they not break it themselves? What if Fang Yuan goes back on his word in the future? As long as they cooperated and achieved mutual benefits, why would Fang Yuan decide to turn on them? Risk was definitely present, but how could anything in the world contain no risk? Risk was secondary, profit was the main thing. Shen Shang would not want anything that was high risk with low returns. But when the risk was great and the reward was also great, Shen Shang would never let it go. The thing that Shen Shang appreciated the most was not Fang Yuan's battle strength, but his decision to share the mission with Miao Ming Shen, and even with himself. From this, Shen Shang could tell that Fang Yuan was different from ordinary demonic path Gu immortals. He was rational, he had the ability to think and act like the righteous path. Pondering for a long time, Shen Shang nodded slowly with a solemn expression. This is a chance, for both you and me. He, fine, why not take a gamble? In the future, if one remains stagnant, they will fall off. If Ancestor Shen Shang regains his senses, I will definitely try to persuade him to stop attacking you. These are all the low-ranked immortal materials that I currently have, please accept them. Shen Shang displayed his sincerity once again. Fang Yuan kept them all into his immortal aperture. He had stopped using Daybreak Sword. He slowly retreated. Good. I'm going down to retrieve the underwater formation. Retrieving the underwater formation was a lot of work for Fang Yuan, but in the end, he succeeded. Fang Yuan stabbed and injured Shen Shang. Although the white gold pillar of light did not stop it, the Daybreak Sword still caused damage to the pillar, thus damaging the underwater formation. The underwater formation was already only 40% left. Shen Shang had broken out of it, which caused a huge opening. In Fang Yuan's eyes, it was full of cracks that he could target. If he continued to fight, before Shen Shang dies, the underwater formation would probably collapse first. Once it collapses, it was very likely to implicate the immortal Gu inside. Fang Yuan could not control which immortal Gu would be injured or destroyed, but if Regret Gu gets destroyed, Fang Yuan's plans would be severely thwarted. This was also one of the reasons why Fang Yuan and Shen Shang had joined forces. The formation was taken away by Fang Yuan, the white gold pillar that extended towards the sky dissipated, while Shen Shang regained his freedom. Ancestor! Shen Shang shouted while retreating. Fang Yuan manipulated myriad year flying warship and cautiously retreated. Shen Shang was still shrieking, fallen into a state of insanity. There was not the slightest sign of awakening. Shen Shang, do you need me to lend a hand? Fang Yuan asked. No need. Shen Shang stared at Shen Shang, unable to figure out what state or condition he was in. There was nothing he could do. We'd better wait until Ancestor awakens on his own. Fine. Fang Yuan said as he controlled myriad year flying warship, moving further away. Just at this moment, Shen Shang suddenly moved. His body was like an arrow, flying away. Ancestor! Shen Shang cried out and chased after him. Fang Yuan likewise maneuvered myriad year flying warship to chase after him. But Shen Shang was extremely fast. Myriad year flying warship was only a little bit faster. Fang Yuan did not dare to use myriad year flying warship to directly stop Shen Shang. Because of this, Shen Shang managed to fly out of Regret Crying Sea. Shen Shang and Fang Yuan wanted to continue their pursuit, but they were stopped by an invisible barrier. Damn it! Shen Shang's face was livid, he almost cursed out loud. This was the method of Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. which he had already experienced before, it prevented the foreign Gu immortals from running around, so every mission had a certain limitation on where they could go. This constraint did not take effect on Shen Shang, but it obstructed Fang Yuan and Shen Shang. The two of them could only watch as Shen Shang flew away in a blur, eventually turning into a small black dot in the sky. It looks like he won't come back. Fang Yuan sighed. Shen Shang looked stiff and watched for a long time before finally regaining his usual demeanor. He turned to Fang Yuan and forced a smile. In that case, let's go back first. Fang Yuan consoled, Brother Shen, there is no need to be overly concerned, although your ancestor escaped, he cannot leave Dragon Whale Paradise. If he comes to his senses, he will definitely try to contact you by all means. If he is still insane, that would be even easier for us. The Merit Obelisk will not watch him endanger the environment and people, there will surely be more missions to come, just like this one, to kill your ancestor Shen Shang. Fang Yuan's words were reasonable. Shen Shang listened and nodded repeatedly, the look on his face eased a little. Under the Merit Obelisk, the atmosphere was tense and heavy. Two groups of people were distinctly separated. One group consisted of Miao Ming Shen, Zheng Luo Zi, Tu Tu Tua, and the rest. The other group consisted of the Shen Clan members, with Ren Xiaoping and Tong Hua around. I wonder what's going on in Regret Crying Sea. Yeah, that is Fang Yuan after all. This demon has defeated Heavenly Court time and again, he is really scary. My clan has 2 rank 8 Gu immortals that can help out each other. Especially with ancestor Shen Shang here, Fang Yuan isn't anything to fear. Don't forget, the reason why Fang Yuan was able to defeat Heavenly Court was because they were in the River of Time. But our first Supreme Elder is also restricted by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, so he can't fight Fang Yuan anyway. Sigh. The Shen Clan Gu immortals whispered, while Miao Ming Shen's group remained silent. They were eager to teleport back and see how the battle progressed, but they were afraid that as soon as they teleported over, they would be affected by the horrific aftermath of the battle, and they might get caught up in it and die a terrible death. No one was willing to take a foolish risk, so they were all here anxiously waiting for the results of the battle. 2 white lights flashed as Fang Yuan and Shen Shang appeared together. They're back. Why don't we see ancestor Shen Shang? Fang Yuan is still alive, damn it. The immortals' thoughts were shaking as their expressions changed. He, Fang Yuan, thanks to this information of yours, it will save me a lot of time and effort. Shen Shang exclaimed. Fang Yuan smiled and waved his hand, this is my sincerity. As I said, it will be a win-win situation if you and I cooperate. The group of immortals were shocked again and became dumbfounded. What the heck was this? You two were just fighting each other earlier. Why were you suddenly on good terms? What actually happened? Where was ancestor Shen Shang? The Gu immortals could not help but feel startled and amazed. Shen Shang laughed, I have reached an agreement with Fang Yuan to cooperate for now. Take out all the immortal materials you have on you. What? The Shen Clan Gu immortals were dumbfounded. Shen Shang nodded his head and emphasized, this is the agreement we made, transfer all your rank 6 and 7 immortal materials to him now. First Supreme Elder, this. The immortals looked at each other. Shen Shang showed a solemn expression and said in a deep voice, this is an order. The Shen Clan Gu immortals were speechless. What has happened? Oh great first Supreme Elder, what in the world are you thinking? They were simply wondering if the first Supreme Elder in front of them had been controlled by Fang Yuan. The Shen Clan Gu immortals dawdled before finally taking out their respective immortal materials and handed them over to Fang Yuan on the spot. Fang Yuan smiled and received them one by one. He knew that the Shen Clan Gu immortals would definitely not hand over all the immortal materials, but it did not matter, the materials that Fang Yuan needed for his refinement had been mostly obtained already. After Shen Clan's Gu immortals had finished handing them over, Shen Shang looked at Ren Xiaoping and Tong Hua. Us too. Ren Xiaoping could not believe it as his expression turned livid. Shen Songxing's gaze was cold as he nodded. Shen Clan will reward you for this. Ren Xiaoping almost cursed out loud. Your Shen Clan is cooperating with Fang Yuan, what does that have to do with me? I came to join your force but you treated me like this. This is just too. Shen Songxing saw Ren Xiaoping's hesitation and smiled slightly. Do you still not believe in me? Even if you don't trust me, my Shen Clan's credibility is not worth your trust? Lord, please forgive me, of course I believe you. It was just that I could not react in time. Ren Xiaoping laughed and endured the pain while transferring most of his immortal materials to Fang Yuan. Tong Hua had an extremely ugly expression but she had no choice but to follow him. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible.